Been a minute.
Yeah.
So how's it feel driving a Lamborghini again?
I can't even explain it.
Who'd have thought this is where we'd been?
Man, I've never. You see these things on video games and you see them on TV, but you always, as a kid, want one of these things, but to actually think that you're going to be behind the wheel, and it's kind of far-fetched. So being able to be behind the wheel right now is really, in so many words, a dream come true for me.
And that was one of the things for me, is I always said, and I'd hate to know how many people thought I was completely full of shit. Hell, sometimes I thought I was full of shit. Like you get that self-doubt sometimes in life. You're like, I'm going to own this one day. But then in the back of your mind, you kind of talk yourself out of it. You're like, am I really? Mm-hmm. But I decided that I would really try doing what everyone says, the law of attraction.
Yeah.
And be positive and never give up that hope and that dream. And I always said the day I would own one, I would let everyone that that I'm around be a part of it. And I've been true to my word.
Yeah.
I've been true to my word. You went with me the day I picked it up.
Yeah.
So we had a good time that day.
Yeah.
Lamborghini took care of us. Popped bottles of champagne.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep, had a good time. So I'm glad I'm able to share the experience with multiple people. Because, like you said, not everybody's going to get that. It's always a dream, and it makes me feel good to share that with other people. It don't belong there, though. No. That house does not belong in this neighborhood.
Well, if they could see me now, I tell you, my whole life has changed since I moved to Florida, man.
What people don't realize, man, sometimes when you get that moment of fear, what you want is on the other side of it. You just got to take that leap. And moving to Florida, like for real, like it was scary for me.
Yeah.
I left everything behind and came down here and was just like, I'm going to make it work. And then you turned around and did the same thing. Mm-hmm. So I think it's it's good to adventure out, spread your motherfucking wings and fly.
Yeah. I always say you're only as big as the tank that you're in.
That's it.
I had to change my tanks in order for me to grow.
Yep.
Because my wings were too big for where I was at. What I wanted for myself was too big for the environment, for what that environment that I was in had to offer me.
Exactly. And that's not knocking where we came from.
No,
that's just saying, when I go back home, I'm happy. I love to see the mountains. I love to see the people that I know from there. There's a lot of good people there. It's just situations that I myself put myself into, as well as you put yourself into, led us down a path where that's not a place that has a lot of job opportunities.
No.
And they're damn sure not worried about handing out the people with a checkered past any job opportunities.
No, not at all.
So to make that leap of faith, knowing you don't know where you're going, how you're going to land. It's definitely something that people need to understand. It's part of life's journey. If you keep your feet planted, you're never moving forward.
I agree, 100%. I love where I'm from. I brag about where I'm from. I brag about the people where I'm from. I love the people. And I have not experienced the quality of human anywhere else that I've been so far. I wish that I could take those people from where we're from and transplant them to Florida, man.
Yeah, seriously. People in West Virginia are, people want to make jokes, and you get all the wrong turn jokes, and your sister's your mother, and all and all these other bullshit jokes. People want to tell you these things, but I get it. It's fun to pick on somebody, but the people in West Virginia are definitely good people, man. They're amazing people. I am proud to be from West Virginia myself as well, and the caliber of mentality of people from there versus a lot of the people I've met here, by far, people back home, there's a lot better people. That's not knocking away in Florida. That's just saying, work-wise, I've met a lot of people here that just don't carry a work ethic. Met a lot of people here that have that alligator mouth, Florida, what a Tweety Bird ass. Like, people here, like, really, really reckless sometimes. So, just good to be proud from where you're from.
For sure. It took a lot of growing up for me to accept it, though, because growing up there, I used to hate it.
Me too.
I used to hate it.
I always told my family I didn't feel like I belonged there, and they always told me I was crazy. They're like, what do you mean you don't belong here? You're from here. How would you know where you belong? It never, even though it is home, it never felt like home. I always knew I was meant to leave and adventure out.
Yeah.
And I feel like that adventure for me is what allowed everything that I wanted in my life to start transpiring. Like right now, we're doing the podcast. I purchased a Lamborghini, clothing design coming out, traveling, seeing multiple different beaches. It's just, for me, it was time for me to go. It was time. And I needed that restart.
Yeah, for sure. Likewise. And luckily for me, you extended your hand, and I took you up on that. And since then, my life has.
Of course, I tell everybody, it's like, yeah, that's my cousin, but he's like my little brother. That's why I tell absolutely everyone. So we're on our way to the studio now. Once we get there, we're going to fill y'all in on what life is like headed into the penitentiary, what it's like being released from the penitentiary, and what it's like changing your life after incarceration. So we'll see y'all in a few. So I started off with Old Smoky whiskey. Honestly, I'm not a whiskey drinker at all. Absolutely can't stand it. Until I ended up with Old Smoky. The first one I tried was salted caramel. And I could not believe that somebody actually made a whiskey that was so smooth, that didn't just have that redneck, no offense, kick you with the cowboy boot in the ass flavor. You know what I mean? Like, all whiskeys always seem to taste the same. I don't care. You can mask the bottle, whatever brand you want. Someone gave me a glass of Old Smoky salted caramel, and I was hooked. And from that point on, I've tried all their flavors. The only one I have to say I'm not the biggest fan of is, excuse me, is pecan, and just because I don't like pecans. So that's where I ended up with the Old Smoky whiskey. It's absolutely amazing. I'm telling you, go out and buy you a bottle of your drinker. You will not regret it. Hey, how you doing? Welcome back to the Lambodiaries. We finally made it to the studio. Had to get a little drive. But I let someone that's very close to me and dear to me introduce himself. This is my cousin, who's like a little brother to me. So I'm excited to have him on today so he can tell his life story about the paths we chose, how we went down them, what led us there, how we made it through, and what we've done to change our lives.
Well, I'm Stephen. I'm the cousin of Jeff, and it's an honor to have me here.
Appreciate it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here.
Yes, you're welcome.
So what I want to do is kind of just reach out to the younger versions of us. So if they see this, they know that people are dealing with all sorts of life expectations, traumas, wants and desires, things that might lead them down the path that we chose that didn't bring us to a bright place, that took us down a very hard road. That's a very hard road to recover from. What made you choose the lifestyle that took you to the penitentiary?
Well, that's a great question. That is a great question. Off the top, if to answer that, want to want to have these things that my family wasn't able to provide for me.
I know the feeling.
Influence, being influenced by people who I felt had the best interest for me. But if they really had the best interest for me, then they wouldn't have.
They'd have guided you another path.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. I was an athlete. I had great sports capabilities. They should have, veered me.
They
if
should have been
loved
kicking
me.
you in the ass and saying, "Nah,
Exactly.
little homie, keep your ass on that
For
motherfucking
sure.
baseball
For
field."
sure. Instead, it was, hey, I see you smoking. Well, I see you spending the money to smoke because I like to smoke. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Not illegal anymore.
So at the time, I see you smoking, and hey, I'm gonna show you how to smoke for free.
Yeah.
And so it started off with smoking for free. Basically, in a long story short, showing me how to buy something, sell a little bit, keep a little bit for me, make a little bit of money in the meantime, and then it just grew from there.
Greed took a hold.
Greed took a hold.
That's the path that got me. Same scenario. Want. I've kind of touched on it a little bit before. I got beat up as a kid for being poor. Like, what child gets his ass kicked for being poor?
Yeah.
I truly did.
Yeah.
1 minute I'm friends with people, next minute I'm getting beat up because I don't have name brand shoes.
For sure.
So my life of crime started from stealing. And then when I realized that's not the path, I'm too fucking nervous to be robbing shit, I ended up selling weed, and I did it out of want, need, desire, wanting more in life, wanting the glorious things that I seen, knew it was quick, fast money, trying to take care of kids on my own, raising 2 kids by myself. 2 of the 3 kids that I had at that time by myself, I was raising alone. And it led me down to a greedy path. I thought I would do it short time. Next thing you know, I'm doing it full time.
Yeah, for sure.
Next thing you know, it's engulfed my life, and I'm surrounded by it, which led me to an 8-year prison sentence. So definitely the desires to see the things that we want in life, flashy cars, jewelry.
All good intentions.
All good intentions is
Great
where it always
intentions.
starts. It always starts with good
for sure.
intentions. But there is a better way, and it took that hard road to change my life, because I feel like I've said it before. It's hard to say it and accept it. I still feel like 8 years was a lot for what I got for selling weed. I feel like I needed to go away to become the better version of myself.
Yeah.
I feel like without that tribulation and that trials of my life, I couldn't have become the man I am today. And I'm trying to, with this episode, reach out to people and let them know this is not the path for you.
Yeah.
So this is it. I promise you, we know now with what we do for a career at this point in time, we know there's a better way.
Yes.
And one thing that doesn't get taken away from you is legal money.
Yes, for sure.
Legal money is your money.
Yeah.
And an OG in prison taught me. He said, "Drug money talks." He said it says 3 things: buy, buy, buy. Buy me this. Buy to your family. Now buy to your freedom. So you jumped in there for greed and you bought everything you ever dreamed of. And by doing that, you created this flashy lifestyle that put a target on you. Now everybody's watching. Everybody's talking. Jealousy and envy starts brewing. Your friends are the first ones that hate to see you have something.
Yes.
And then the ball dropped. I lost my family. I lost the woman I was engaged to. She lost a child. And then I lost my freedom. So to lose your kids, like I said, I had 3 kids at the time. my oldest daughter, and the 2 kids I was raising. And to stand in that courtroom and look at that judge and tell him the sentence you give me today, I in turn have to hand to my children. That was the hardest thing I ever had to say.
Wow.
Because
Yeah.
the reality set in right then.
Mm-hmm.
This ain't my life I fucked up. I fucked up my life and my kids' life.
Mm.
I watched my father cry when I went away. And that has haunted me to this day. When I had to watch my father stand there and stare at me and say, I can't believe I'm having to watch this.
That's deep. Yeah.
And it broke him. And that was one of the hardest days of my life.
Yeah.
So, and for you, did you have kids when you first got locked up?
Yeah, I did. I had my oldest son, and I actually had one on the way as well. I remember my sentencing like it was yesterday, man. I remember feeling like an ant in that courtroom. An ant. I remember seeing the judge being in his courtroom, and the courtroom felt so large, so big, like I was in a
Felt like a
stadium.
coliseum.
Yeah, like I was in a stadium. And they had this guy that was sitting up. It felt like he was God, and he was just so high, and I was so low in this massive room. And him telling me, I'm sentencing you to 60 months. While you're away, make sure that you educate yourself. Make sure that you read.
How dumb did you feel when he said 60 months? I'm not going to lie to you. I had my hands behind my back because I still had a little military bearing to myself. So I was standing at parade rest. And when he said 97 months, I started counting with my fingers because I went retarded for a half a second. No offense to anybody. I'm not trying to be fucked up and say the word retarded. I'm calling myself retarded. So, but I literally had to start counting on my fingers. Behind my back, I was like, 97 months. The fuck is that?
Yeah, to be sentenced to 60 months at how old was I? I was 19, 20 years old. I was really trying to keep my composure and not let my family see me cry. The whole time when the judge actually gave me a chance to speak, that whole conversation within itself was just the golf ball in my throat.
Right.
Trying to maintain my composure, make sure that my family knew that I was okay, because they were falling apart more than I was.
Right.
But I was tore up inside because not to go down that road. What I did didn't grant me 60. It shouldn't have granted me 60 months. The judge
I agree.
acknowledged that, but due to the mandatory minimum, he said that he couldn't go below that.
See, I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that because my judge in the transcripts literally says, Mr. George, I reluctantly hand you 97 months because he knew that charge made no sense for what I did. When these child molesters are out here getting handed 2 years,
and they ruin people's life for a lifetime.
That's someone's entire life gone.
Yeah.
And now here we are in today's day and age, and marijuana's legal, and it's like I remember hearing them stories back in the day where the grandfather was the moonshine runner.
Yeah.
I got to tell my grandson, G Pops was a damn weed smuggler. It's funny to look back and laugh, knowing that I can find humor out of the pain and the trauma that I went through for all those months. And I think if we don't laugh through our trials and tribulations, if we don't look back and laugh, then that's when the cries take over.
Yeah.
And, I have those moments still to this day. Sometimes I'll have a flashback. Sometimes I even dream and get woken up out of my dream and I'm in a prison cell.
Yeah.
And it feels so real. The trauma from being gone that long literally sets in. And when I find myself struggling on the street today, like I work hard, I make decent money, and I strive to, do everything I need to do, but I still struggle. And that's what I try to tell people all the time. It's like, don't let the Lambo fool you. I still got to go to work every day. And that stress I think it brings back an internal memory of an easier way out. But then in my sleep, my self-conscious grabs me and says, this is where you're going to go.
Yeah.
And you're not going to fucking find the light of day. You go down this road again.
That's a good point.
I can only imagine 97 months was my first sentence. What the fuck would round 2 look like?
Pray for 15.
I don't want that shit.
For 15.
I don't want that. And only dummies repeat.
Yeah.
Only dummies repeat. Unless you're like boys. And then that's where you got to go. I don't.
That's something I tell everybody. I said, I love women so much to put myself back in a situation where I'm around 1,800 men sweaty men locked behind the fence, So
Yeah.
that was enough for
Uh,
me.
yeah, that's all you need right there.
That was enough for
If
me.
that ain't a wake up call,
Yeah.
yeah. Hey. And another thing an OG taught me, boy, pussy will never be pussy.
Oh, no.
They can call it what they want. It's
God.
never the real thing.
Oh, God.
So what was it like the first day you hit the compound? What was that like?
Wow, you're taking me back, man.
Yeah.
You're taking me back.
Got to go back. Got to get
The
story.
first day that I hit the compound, wow, I remember. It was around October. The weather had just chilled down a little bit, fall time. And I hit that compound, and again, like the courtroom situation, it would just seem so massive.
Mm-hmm.
And coming out of the receiving, what is R&D, I think
Yep.
that's what they call it, with that new smell, smell.
You're fresh fish.
Yeah, the new smell. My t-shirt sparkly white.
Yep.
My khakis don't even have a belt. It's the elastic waistband.
Right.
I don't even have shoes on. They're the little slipper,
the Bruce Lee slides.
The little Bruce Lee slides. Walking across with my
got
mesh
laundry bag. Yep.
And you can smell a new person when they walk by.
Oh yeah.
Just lost, playing the part. Playing the part. Deep down inside, I didn't feel like I belonged there. I never felt, like I should be there. I never felt like a part of this. I don't want to make myself seem like I was better than. I'm better than this.
Right. You knew inside.
Yes.
That was not the life for you.
Correct.
You
100%.
knew deep down inside, this is bullshit. What the fuck was I doing?
Yes, 100%. Didn't know what's in store for me moving forward.
You was raised better.
I was raised way better than where I was.
But you allowed your influence to get you.
For sure.
And it's exactly what I did. Same thing. I had the chance to go to college to play baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Went to the military, and I dealt with my issues there. Got out of the military. Ended up, like I said, raising kids, and found myself struggling. And I knew there was other ways.
Mm-hmm.
There's a million other ways.
Yeah.
I chose a quick route because I felt I had no other way. Because of influence, because people around me, I'm watching them constantly just
I want to win
full
too.
of money.
I want to
Exactly.
win too.
I want to know what that feeling is. And now it's like, shit, man. Like I knew going in. For me, I knew I was headed into a situation that was shitty. I was a white man who loved to wear his head bald. So I already knew the first fucking impression everybody was going to have of me. But no one knew I was covered in Egyptian tattoos and have mixed kids. I got a white daughter and a mixed daughter and a mixed son. And only people that knew me would know these things about me.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was the coolest thing ever when I was 16 to get Thug Life tattooed on my stomach.
Like Tupac.
I love Pac. So as a young man, I grew up dating, I didn't see race that way, but I got picked on for the women I chose to date. I remember getting jumped for dating a black woman. I remember being called an end lover for my black girlfriend and her brother dropping me off at the house in the area we lived in. These rednecks burned a cross in our front yard.
Wow.
I lost my shit when that happened. I was like, oh my God, this really happens? I thought this shit was only on TV. I did not know it was real. So I had felt racism from white people and black people in my life growing up. And then going into a prison setting that you've only seen on TV to where you're like, shit, I got mixed kids. I'm not on that homeboy white supremacy time.
Right.
And then I know that, I'm walking into a situation where it's really unknown for me. So the moment I hit the compound, same scenario, sit through receiving, come in, got my bag, walking across, and I swear that was the biggest freaking open area I'd ever seen in my life. So much concrete. And the grass, literally, no one steps on it except the people cutting it. You knew there were signs, don't walk on the grass.
Yes.
Do you know the first time I touched grass was after being in prison? Well, I touched it on the baseball field because clearly they allow us to do sports, little sports, non-contact, things like that. But to actually touch it for that brief moment of being there, it felt different because I knew, shit, this ain't outside, this ain't freedom. It was the craziest feeling. I didn't see a tree for my first 5 years in prison because all the trees were outside the compound. There was none inside the compound.
Yeah. That's a good point. I never thought about that.
So the first time, because they transfer you a lot in the penitentiary. People don't realize that. They don't want you to get comfortable and they move you around.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the first time I touched a tree was like 5 years in, and I kind of looked around, like I felt like a creep for a minute, like I was like peeking around, like and I kind of walked over and just like touched that tree. And I was like, "This is what a tree feels like."
Hugger.
So I forgot. Yeah, I wanted to give it a hug. I wanted to feel it. I just wanted to touch that tree. And it was things like that just kept. This is not life, man.
Yeah, I'll tell you another thing. I don't want to cut you off. Is color. Everything, the colors were so vibrant.
Yes.
Upon the release.
Remember the first time you seen pink?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I didn't see pink for 5
years. I
years.
own like 7 pair of pink underwear, bro. Seriously, seriously. I own 2 pair of pink Timberlands and like 7 different shades of pink underwear. I love it. Because I realized I was like, holy shit! All I've seen is gray and concrete.
Yeah.
And khaki.
Yeah.
Fuck some khaki.
Yeah.
Fuck khaki.
I don't even.
If khaki had an ass, I swear I'd tell somebody fuck it right in it. Don't even spit on it. Just be rude to it. Because I had to wear that shit for 8 years. I don't want no khaki in my life. My God. So walking across the compound, I make it to my unit. It's the furthest unit away. I go up there. I'm on the 4th floor. A4. I walk up there. As soon as I walk in, I go into they take me to my cell, 127. Sad the things that burn in your brain. So I go into the cell. My cellie there, he's a pimp from DC. He was in there for pimping.
Yeah.
His name was Gip. Gip
from DC.
Gip from DC, and Gip can make that wine.
Jesus.
Boy, Gip was a wine making man in there. So when I first walked in, for me, being from where I came from, I hung around predominant black people in the street. So it meant nothing to me to be around black people in prison. I didn't see people this way.
Right.
I didn't think this way. Within 7 minutes, the cell was surrounded by probably some of the largest black men I'd ever seen in my fucking life, face to face.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing they said was, "Are you here on that white supremacy bullshit?"
Mm.
And I was like, "Oh, wait a minute. No, like your homeboys said you are." I said, "I don't even know if I know anybody in this motherfucker. Who's my homeboy?"
Right.
So then they point upstairs, and I couldn't see because I'm in the back of the cell. I'm already thinking I got to stab somebody today.
Mm-hmm.
Because on the way across the compound, I ran into somebody from the street that I knew. And within seconds, he handed me a shank and said, "You probably going to need this." I weighed 145 pounds when I went to prison.
Jeez.
People would have thought I was a damn crackhead.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you see my big ass and picture me at 145.
Yeah.
I'm a crackhead.
Yeah.
I'm 245 pounds. I ate little Jeff. So he gave it to me. He said, "You're probably going to fucking need this." And that shit fucking went through me. Like, that was the first time I think I ever felt a true cold chill in my spine. Is knowing I've got 8 years of this shit. So I'm in that cell and they don't realize I've got it, and I'm trying to undo my laundry bag, put my stuff away. And they telling me that they heard I'm here on some white supremacy bullshit. And I'm like, nah. And they said, yeah, they said you got lightning bolts tattooed on your neck. Well, clearly I don't have any neck tattoos. And I didn't even know what that meant. I had no clue what a lightning bolt tattoo meant. I didn't know.
Right.
I was dumb to this lifestyle. I had never been told these things.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sitting there and I'm like, lightning bolts, no. And then they're like, so you're not like on that, white supremacy shit. And I'm like, I said, oh, wait a minute. I'd be the worst white supremacist on the planet. And he said, what do you mean? I said, so I pulled my shirt up. I said, bro, I got thug life tattooed on me. I'm covered in Egyptian tattoos. My girlfriend's from Venezuela.
Yeah.
I got 2 mixed kids. Bro, like I'm the worst white supremacist on the planet. And they were like, okay, you need to handle that. Now I'm thinking, fuck, I ain't got to stab one of these motherfuckers. I got to go upstairs and stab somebody. I'm day one on the compound. I'm never going home.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thoughts I had.
Yeah, that's a scary thought.
So I unpack my things and I go up the stairs and I see these guys, and not one of them do I know. I don't know where they got the homeboy shit. And then the first thing they tell me is, hey, how you doing, man? And they try to offer me a cigarette. I said, no, I'm good. I smoked at the time. I'm like, no, I'm good. Because I do remember, don't ever take shit from anybody in prison.
Yeah.
Because Bubba going to show up and want payment.
Yeah, for sure.
Bubba's not fucking me.
That's what
No. So I'm there, and the first thing the dude says, "You might want to move out of that cell." And I said, "Wow, what's wrong with him? Something wrong with him? Is he crazy? Something going on?" And they said, "No, you might move in. You might want to be with your own kind." And I'll never forget. He rolled his arm over and he rubbed his forearm like that. And to this day, it's funny because I do reverse racism to people all the time. I'll literally give people shit like, "Oh, you're only doing it because I'm white." And I'll roll my arm over, and it's a flashback to prison. And I'll rub my arm because your forearm, the bottom side, never sees sunlight,
Mm-hmm.
so it's always the lightest part of your body.
Mm-hmm.
So I roll it over, and he did that. And I said, so I told him, I said, "Don't you ever fucking speak to me like that again. How dare you fucking stop? You could have got me killed day fucking one spreading lies on me." And from right then, I knew I had a battle for the next 8 years of my fucking life.
Mm-hmm.
And all I can think is, this is day one. And that was the hardest night's sleep I think I ever had when that was all said and done. But with that being said, I found my way. So when I see people now, like I see people in these social media things and they're talking about prison stories and they go on and they're saying, "You got to click up and do this." You don't have
No,
to.
you don't.
People choose to do it. You don't have to. You can stay the fuck out the way.
Mm-hmm.
But know this, when you choose to stay out the way, you are a one-man army.
Yes.
No one's coming to save you. And I knew going down that road that I was going to be my one-man army.
Mm-hmm.
That if shit popped off, yeah, people from West Virginia would definitely be there for me if I needed it, white or black. But I didn't have that gang mentality that
Yeah.
they weren't coming to save me.
No, not at all.
So that's what a lot of people don't realize when when they're heading into this lifestyle. You don't realize the consequences once them doors close. So for you being mixed, did you run into race issues? Because for me, it was day one. I got hit with black people thinking I was fucking
No.
ready to burn crosses in the goddamn building, and white people call me a race traitor.
No, I did. Me personally, I didn't. In prison, I never experienced any race issues at all. Other being besides being told by some, I call them for what they are, Mexicans, because that was their nationality. They're Mexican.
Yeah.
That they don't deal with because I'm mixed. They don't deal with us, so I wasn't able to get a tattoo by them, due to their rules and the what's it called, the
Politics.
the politics, how the politics play out. So other than that, no. But outside of that, growing up in West Virginia, I mean, look at me. Hell, you're darker than I am. I mean, shit.
Well, I've always said you're only a quarter of pubic hair for being all white.
I mean, so I was too light for the black people and too dark for the white people. So yeah, I experienced racism on both parts.
Right.
On the streets.
On the street. It's crazy how for you on the street you had to deal with racism, but for me it happened in the penitentiary. And normally it's vice versa.
Yeah.
Normally it's the other way around. So it's like that's one of the things that people don't realize when it comes to racism, that it's not always outside or inside. Sometimes reverse racism is really real. Like it is a real thing.
Yes.
And I've dealt with it, like I said, from white people hating me for how I dressed, the music I listened to the women I dated. And I'm like, this is, and part of that, is another reason it led me down my path. Because I wanted that money. I wanted that power. I wanted that respect of being, hey, he's the man. He's the man.
Yeah.
So, and that's, and people would act different. And I was wild as fuck. Bro, I was wild. So for me, when I got sentenced, I really look back on life and I think sometimes I'm like, why not me? Because I found God when I went to jail. Like I had lost religion. I wouldn't say I lost religion. I'd say I turned my back on religion.
Yeah. Same. Yeah.
You start doing your own thing. You stop paying attention to the streets. So I turned my back on religion. And then when I went away, everyone told me, this is God speaking to you. Time to wake up.
That's what they said.
So I studied the Bible. I read it front to back 7 times. 7 times I read the Bible, fully through. And, for me, I found a lot of things in there that helped me find inner strength.
Yeah.
And
sure.
I think religion is a good thing for people. I think it makes you live I think it helps you choose a better path.
Yeah.
I don't care what religion you
Mhm.
follow on the street. I gotta say on the street, because in the penitentiary, and this might rub a few people wrong, a lot of Muslims in prison do the Muslim route
For protection.
for protection.
Agree.
Because then when they get out, they drop that shit in a heartbeat.
For sure.
Or you'll catch them eating Doritos, not knowing there's pork in Doritos. Kraft cheese has pork in it, just so everybody knows. I mean, motherfucker, pork's in Jello, for fuck's sakes, okay? So people will be like, "Oh no, I'm Muslim, I can't eat bacon," but you sucking that fucking Jello down like it ain't shit, and it's made from pork bone marrow. Like you just sucked the pig dick, basically, is what you did. My grandfather told me any man that fucking eats Jello potentially sucks dick. That's what my grandfather told me. It's not my fault. That's what he told me. It is what it is. You guys will see my grandfather taught me a lot of knowledge. And you can't argue with grandfather
Your
knowledge.
grandfather is a
knowledge.
wise man.
Wise man he was. It's funny because when I had this conversation with my brother, he's like, "We must not have the same grandfather because I didn't hear none of these stories." I'm like, "Well, I was the favorite." He knew you was probably sucking dick. That's just what happens. So, so back to being inside prison. I went my first 4.5 years in Gilmer Federal Prison, which was the craziest shit I've ever seen. When two different Mexican gangs get in it, you're fucking locked down 60 days.
Yeah.
You get a shower once every 2 days. The phone, if you're fucking lucky. For me, luckily, it was right outside my cell was the first phone booth. And I could see the TV. If I put one eye to the door frame, I could peek the TV and listen to it on my radio. It's insane that when a white person and a black person will fight in prison, it's a 2-week lockdown. When a black person from one gang fights another black person from another gang, it's a month lockdown. When it's Spanish and black, it's a month lockdown. When it's white and black, white, and you know what I mean? Like it's crazy how you learn a timeline. As soon as you hear them fucking horns go off and a fight happen, you already know. First thing everybody says is,
"Get your shit."
Who the fuck were they?
Yeah.
Get your coolers, get the ice, do what you're filling up your little water coolers.
And jump in the shower.
Wash your nuts because it's the last time you're going to do it in peace because you're going to be taking a whore bath in a fucking cell with your celly hot in his face. Like, it's the worst fucking scenario and people never understand. People don't realize, like, we lived in bathrooms. Like, literally, like, I lived in a bathroom. The bathroom in my home now is literally about the size of my cell. And there was times I was in there for fucking 60 days. Minus just getting out long enough to shower. And then you got a guard watching you, fucking telling you to hurry up. And I'm like, dude, the fucker just got in here. Then you realize you're on a tier with 500 fucking other men. It's like, people don't realize. Bro, you can watch all that damn shit you want and think that's a life you want to fucking live for a little bit. You're crazy. You're crazy if you want to go down that path.
TV doesn't allow you to smell.
Yeah.
You can't smell what's on TV.
No, you can't smell the prison cell.
So they don't. You don't get the full effect until you're actually there. When you can take in all your 5 senses.
Oh yeah.
And
they all heighten.
Yes, they do. Jesus.
So I did 4.5 years in Gilmer, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere it was pack your shit. We're transferring you. So they moved me to Petersburg, Virginia, which was a prison built by prisoners.
Wow.
Imagine that. Imagine back in the day. I think it was built, I could be wrong on my date, so if I am, I apologize. I want to say it was 1927. It was built by inmates. And you could literally see the concrete was poured on framed up woodwork. You could see the wood grain in the concrete. No air conditioning. And it gets fucking hot in Petersburg, Virginia in the summer. It gets fucking hot. Like, you're talking cold showers. You don't even attempt to turn the hot water on. The line for the ice machine, don't you violate that damn line for the ice. So, in the commissary, you could buy coolers, little water jugs, and people would buy, get ice, because when you go to commissary, you could buy candy bars, you could buy little things like that. And if you didn't put them on ice, it was so fucking hot in that prison, they would melt before you could even eat them. That's how hot. You got to think you're in a concrete building in the baking sun.
Yeah.
And So you're in there and you're dealing with these things. So I did about a year in Petersburg. And if I'm telling you these roaches, remember when I said I found God in prison? I found religion in
Yeah,
prison again. So I had broken the habit of saying goddamn for years
Mm-hmm.
because I felt like if I changed my life, changed my speech, changed everything about me, I would find forgiveness and possibly they would pass parole
Yeah,
because there's no parole in the federal system.
No.
The first time they took me into intake into Petersburg, I seen the biggest cockroach I've ever seen in my life. And I was in shackles and handcuffed. And I tried to step on it, and that motherfucker didn't move. All he did was twitch his little antennas. And the first words out of my mouth was, "Goddamn."
You know, I went through a little phase where I stopped cussing.
Did
You know, I
you
went
feel
through,
better when you stopped cussing?
no.
I didn't either. I felt like I was hiding the true
I
self.
was, yeah,
I felt like I was hiding my
yeah.
true self.
It didn't help any. And everybody else made fun of me.
Yeah.
Why
Why are you not cussing? Do you think you're gonna get parole for not cussing?
You got 4 more years to go. You better cuss.
You better let it out while you can. So
You picked the wrong time to stop cussing, didn't you?
I tell people, when I have to tell people a cockroach made me start saying goddamn again. That's the craziest thing.
At least it was a cockroach and just not a cock.
If it had been a cock, I'm telling you, I'd have probably got 15 more years. I'd have got at least 15 more. So, did you ever see any homosexual activity in the
Yeah.
penitentiary?
Oh man.
We'll get back to my next 2 prisons. I was in 2 more fucking prisons. That's how often they move you. There's like, fuck him, he's getting too comfortable. Because once I got to Petersburg, they had weights, and little Jeff disappeared.
Yeah.
Big Jeff showed the fuck
Yeah.
up.
Oh, so did I see any? Oh, I think that's everybody's viewpoints on prison that they,
Do you know how many conversations I've had with women throughout the years that literally said,
Yeah, I've had them too.
and I'm like,
It doesn't
no,
walk like that.
no, I don't need
know.
that.
I don't know
like,
where, but
I could clearly go. I realized in my 8-year stay in prison, I could do 40 years in prison and not want to touch a man.
yeah, for sure.
You know,
Never had any want.
no, not one time.
No.
There's nothing. I have no problem with anyone being gay if that's your choice in life. I applaud you, and I hope you're happy in all the holes you get penetrated in. And I hope you are happy with all the penises you take. I hope scissor action works great for you. I hope when you lick the Laffy Taffy, it tastes amazing for you. Doesn't matter what your preference is in life. For me, I choose to be with women. I love a woman, and that's where I am. So no amount of time in the penitentiary ever made me want to clap cheeks with a man.
No.
Not ever.
I never questioned.
No, never. Because my grandfather told me big dicks are bad for your health. And I'm going to be honest with you, my grandfather was a very wise man.
He was a wise man. Yeah, I agree.
Now, again, I say these things, but I'm out here feeding it to my woman. So it's a little different. But she's designed to take it. So that's what's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
That's what's supposed to happen. But again, so you've seen homosexual acts. Did you see the act or you knew it was going on?
I knew it was going on. I never actually.
You never stumbled on it?
No.
Okay.
No,
okay. Me neither. I never stumbled. That's a lie. I'll get to it because I got to save it. That was almost a lie. My first 2 years or my first 2 penitentiaries, I didn't see. I knew it was going down because you could fucking hear it. Because what people don't know is the ventilation system in prison. Every room's attached on the same ventilation system.
You can hear everything.
So when you're on A4 is a 2-tier stack, but A1 that's under A4 is a 2-tier stack too. So like it's 4 floors, but it's A1, A2, A3, A4. You can literally holler through the vents at night and talk to people all over the prison. So people really don't know that. So I knew it went down clearly, but I've had people really look at me and be like, dude's just really in there fucking. I'm like, no. Like, why are you watching? What are you watching? Stop it. Like, you ever just wanted to pop someone in their forehead? Sure. That's the shit that I want to do when I have to talk about prison sometimes. It's like, what the fuck have you been watching? Stop watching that porn. That's some fucking shit that you don't need to tune into.
Yeah.
Because it's not, people do gay shit, it is what it is. But not always. And I tell people, listen, I know people that are obsessed with Locked Up Raw. And when they're like, oh man, yeah, you did 8 years in prison. Oh, I bet it was crazy. And I'm sitting there thinking, Stop watching TV. Have you ever seen the people they put on Locked Up Raw? They're fucking purse snatchers and crackheads.
Yeah.
Because they get them to act crazy for camera time.
They didn't even do nothing.
They did nothing.
Not even a criminal like that.
They violated parole 17 times because they'd rather eat a bologna sandwich than go home. Speaking of bologna, I'll never eat fucking bologna again in my life.
I don't eat that stuff.
I don't eat peanut butter either.
I haven't eaten ramen noodles in a while either.
I gave in. I ate a ramen noodle.
Oh,
I gave in.
jeez.
You got to flavor it up way different. And you don't break it up and make a fucking damn break out of it. If someone ever says break to me, you know what I'm going to break their motherfucking jaw, bro. Penitentiary talk. Breaks is what they want to call making the... In prison, it's okay, but once you hit the fucking street, if you make a break...
there. You got to leave
If you make a break, just go fucking rob a gas station and go back, because you didn't need to
We have
leave.
steaks out here. I'm not
fucking
eating that
steak,
shit.
bro. There's steak, there's shrimp, there's lobster.
I love it. All that.
Do you know there's a place here in Orlando called the Naughty Lobster?
No.
I'm dying to fucking go there,
Is it
dude.
naughty?
I don't fucking know. It's probably super expensive. Might have to sell 2 kidneys to do it. So I'm gonna need to borrow one of those real quick.
I need mine.
It's naughty because they're calling it like North Atlantic or whatever.
Oh.
But it is what it is. So did the people, were they just regular men that you couldn't tell that you noticed that were gay, or were they special? Because we had some special motherfucking gay people.
They walked around the compound.
And you could spot them, right?
Yeah, they walked.
Did you have any men with titties in prison?
That's what they said. They said there was one. His name is J-Lo.
So y'all had a J-Lo.
Yeah, I think there's one on every compound.
We had a Buffy the Body.
Jesus.
And that's what don't even... It hurts. It hurts to say it. It hurts to say that out loud. And then there was one that came in, light skinned. I don't know what he was, man. Who fucking knows? But I'll never forget the day he hit the compound. This motherfucker had triple D titties. Pure man with triple D titties, right? And this motherfucking Fruit Loop.
Do you have to edit that?
I'm getting. Hey, listen, I told y'all, Lambodiaries will be the realest shit.
It's gonna be raw.
So I call him a Fruit Loop because he liked to buy Fruit Loops.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. Fair
So
enough.
he got kicked out of the kitchen one day, right? Chow time. He walks through, his titties are swinging. And
No bra.
No bra.
They didn't
give him a bra. These are the biggest, saggiest titties you could ever see on a man. Like, grown a man. I don't think I've ever seen a woman with... I'm trying not to...
What the have titties?
Okay, so do you remember Big Mama's? Big Mama, where to put the peanuts in there and they were like, you know what I mean, throw it over shoulder. That's what these titties were like. This is a grown man, a large man, heavy set with these huge, gigantic, saggy titties. And he clearly walked the yard a lot. I guess he was advertising. So he had titty sweat. And he came into the cafeteria. I'll never forget. I can't even look at you right now. I got to look away. He came into the cafeteria. And the captain, you know how the captain's always standing there?
In the white shirt.
In the white shirt. And all of a sudden you hear the captain scream, "Get the fuck out!" And I'm like, oh shit, it's about to pop off. They're like, I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? I grab my spork. I think I'm going to get somebody's eyeball. And I think, fuck, I'm going to get, shouldn't I grab a bite of this chicken real quick? Yardbird. Do you remember calling it Yardbird? So I'm trying to grab a bite of chicken. I grab the fucking spork and I'm ready to, I'm like, fuck, I'm going to eat and stick. That's what I'm going to do. Fuck it. And I'm sitting there and I look and all of a sudden you see fucking the Big Titty McGee motherfucker walk in. And I'll be damned. He had made makeup out of M&Ms and Skittles.
I'm going to pass out.
So what he would do is he would take the spoon and he would drip water on the M&M and the Skittles and get the color off. And he would dip it with toilet paper and put eyeliner on. And he took a fireball and would rub it on his lips till it became lipstick. This big Fruit Loop, because he liked Fruit Loops, came in and he had full makeup on. And the captain lost his shit. That was the end of it. He had had enough. Titty swinging wasn't enough. Dipping the M&Ms for fucking makeup. That became the end of it. I don't remember that one's name. I don't. He didn't have the best name. I don't remember it. So Buffy the Body was a black dude. It was horrible. Tiny titties, had the biggest fake ass you could ever imagine put on anything. Bigger than Kim Kardashian and Nicki Minaj's fake
It was
ass.
fake?
huge inject. Yeah, like
Jesus.
literally had it done. Day one on the compound. I swear to you, some of the hardest men that I had ever seen in prison that I thought were hard ass bad men were in line buying this motherfucker commissary. This dude that they nicknamed Buffy the Body came in. I can't imagine this. This
If you
man,
don't know who Buffy the Body is,
she's a model from back in the
Google
days.
Buffy the Body.
Yeah, she's a black model, black woman model,
Get you an idea.
back in the day with a big old ass. No dick though. She didn't have a dick. This Buffy had dick and balls. It's so bad, so bad, so horrible. Life never changed. You know, when I got out and someone was saying Buffy the Body, all I could picture was a man.
Oh my
It was
god.
the worst ever. So multiple men were in line buying this thing. Commissary.
Were they straight men?
I thought they were. Now I learned today they were lining up to slap balls. You know, there's a lot of things in life that you're just not supposed to do. That's one of them. It's just one of them. For me, it's one of them. For me, it's one of them. Again, if that's your preference in life, I don't care. I'm happy for you. If you're happy, I'm happy. You know, my grandfather always told me, he said, any man that eats a hot dog will probably definitely suck a dick. I haven't eaten hot dogs since my grandfather told me that.
No, ever since I heard that from grandpa.
And I taught you this. I had to pass down the knowledge.
Yeah, I've been.
And my daughter, in turn, passes this knowledge down to her son.
Mm-hmm.
She'll say my great grandfather taught me because my dad told me these things. No. Like you have to pass the message.
Grandpa he was a wise man.
Don't gobble a glizzy. Don't do it. No glizzy gobble. So they bought this man 7 bags of commissary, and I'm sitting there thinking, for the first time outside of knowing my woman was fucking on me. That was rough.
It was rough. Well, I almost got the sheet tied around my neck.
So many times I had thoughts. I was like, you know what? My kids, I love them, but they ain't gonna know who I am when I come home. My woman's out here fucking.
Yeah, it was.
I'm gonna call it a day. Let's just check out this tier. If I do a quick drop off the top tier, quick snap drop, done. Thought crossed my mind a few times. I'm not gonna lie. But I watched these men. I'm sitting watching it. It broke my heart. I said, "Fuck! I didn't think something like this could actually hurt me." And because I used to talk to these dudes. Now I couldn't talk to them no more. Again, it's not that I couldn't talk to them because of their sexual lifestyle that they were choosing. It changed my perspective on them because this is not the attitude. And in prison, you carry yourself a certain way.
For sure.
If you falter, now there's a kink in your armor. Now there's a flaw in your character. I can no longer accept you for what you are because you've changed, you've switched. I found out, you know. So it really broke me to see these things. Now Buffy ended up getting raped. Buffy got gang raped.
Oh,
in A2.
Against the will?
It was supposed to be a train, and I guess more people showed up that didn't pay. So he ran out screaming, "They're raping me!" And it was like literally he streaked across the compound with his underwear around his ankle.
It couldn't have been me.
Couldn't have, dude. I cried.
Couldn't have been me.
I couldn't stop.
That's funny.
I couldn't stop. So that was it. That was at Gilmer. That's just 2 that I will name out loud. Because, dude, it's just fucking absolutely horrible that this is real life. That I gotta look back on this shit and remember. But this is the good thing. I carry a lot of PTSD from the penitentiary. I've learned a lot of people like to joke and use certain wordage. Like for me, my mother has passed. Rest her soul wherever she may be. Well, when my mother parted, my mother had her beliefs. I have mine.
Yeah.
I believe my mother can see me. I believe my mother is watching over me. I do not believe in this life. In the next life, I believe in reincarnation. I believe in the next life that I will find my mother somewhere else. Whether she is a friend in passing, I believe I will reconnect with my mother. So I made a video one time that, I don't believe my mother's God will allow me to come to heaven and visit her. That's how far away our thought process is today. Everyone's thought process can change. As again, earlier I said, I found God in prison.
Yeah.
So for me, right at this moment, I'm on this journey, and where if it leads me back, then that's where then I'm designed to go down this path. So I'm trying to think where I was going with this. Where was I even going with this? This is why it's so real because I'm not going to edit none of this. I want it to all be real. How was I going with my mom? Where did I go with this? And everyone has to forgive me because there was
different thought paths,
different thought paths.
different beliefs, different thoughts.
Different beliefs.
So, it's like the whole thing is just crazy for me, man. Finding God and leaving God.
Finding God in prison. You found
God in prison.
Yeah.
And I feel like,
reincarnation.
the reincarnation. I believe I left that version of God there in prison, because the things I seen
Of what you believed at that time.
what I believed at that time. I
Mhm.
believe it needed to stay there for the next man to pick up.
Mhm.
I believe in energy, right? So if I meet someone, they have great energy, right? I can vibe with that person and I can chill with that person. And I believe when I meet someone when you part from a person, you leave an energy. You implant energy on someone.
Yeah.
I believe I left an implant on that penitentiary
Mhm.
for someone else to pick up and fix themselves and to guide them on a path to not calling it fucking quits in that fucking prison.
Yeah.
So those two prisons there is the one. That prison there is the one I dealt with. That I get to Petersburg and there's another one there they called Brittany
Spears.
Brittany Spears.
It's the names. It's the
names that they
nicknames
attach
that
to
they
their
give
dudes.
these people.
And you know why they called him Brittany?
Huh.
He had a full meltdown when Brittany had a meltdown because when she shaved her head bald, he chose to shave his head bald. He came in, his name was Brian, but he was gay.
No.
And he came to prison and he was in prison and he chose to shave his head bald when Brittany shaved her head bald. So he literally went bald then. And so Brittany, again, back to what I said about getting your heart broken, another very large man that I looked up to. You know what I mean? Like we'd be on the weight yard when I found weights. I got to Petersburg and I was like, oh shit, time to kill little Jeffrey.
Yeah.
Old Jeffrey has to die. We're going to build a new version of Jeffrey.
Mhm.
And I became in prison. I carried a nickname. It's crazy how your people will change your name. I don't know if you transferred around. They made me transfer.
I seen two prisons while I was there. I went from Beckley FCI, and then they built a new prison in Welch, West Virginia,
Okay.
McDowell.
Okay.
And so they transferred me to the new one unexpectedly, just for population, to populate it. And so I ended up experiencing two different ones.
So I dealt with this and I watched these fucking things. Now, Petersburg, for being a low level prison, bro, it's a fucking bloodbath.
Really?
I actually got a job. People don't realize prison, you don't just fucking lay in bed. You get up and work.
Yeah, you have to work.
You have to work. You make 5 cents an hour is what your pay is.
I had a good job, actually. When I got to McDowell, I was actually the GED tutor. So I got a little bit of money.
So okay. Well, see, now that's what I was about to say.
I got like $200 a month.
Well, see, now you had good money.
Yeah.
Now, what I will tell you, most of my prison stay, I got hardly any money. So when I first at Gilmer, I cleaned in the dorm, right? And when you first get there, it's the fucking worst. I had to clean the fucking showers.
Oh no! Did you see all the living organisms?
Well, let me tell you what the fucking mold. I don't know how I'm not dead from black mold because there's no ventilations in the shower ports.
The showers is the worst. The showers is the worst.
And everybody don't shower together. It's not a mass fucking shower.
What goes on in the shower? When you look, I mean, you can walk by. Not that you're shower washing, but if you're walking up the steps and you see 4 legs,
you can't help
in the shower. You just can't help but double take to see. Hey, my trip.
You know what's worse is in Gilmer, in the TV area. Was here, the fucking showers were right behind the goddamn TV. Again, you could not see because of the doors.
I've been in that situation.
Thankfully, you couldn't see the door. You could only see doors and legs. But that's when you knew. That's when you knew. It's like, ain't a fucking person in here, a centipede.
Why is there 10 legs in the shower right now?
Why do I see 6 legs? So you knew a motherfucker was bent over, grabbing his own ankles, and it was the worst fucking thing. Again, I can't look at you if you walk out. I would give him.
I gotta know who's coming out.
I would too. I'd give him the walk of shame. I'd literally be like this. I'd be watching TV and I'd be like, "You hear the door?" And then you hear the door again. You're like, "Oh, Jesus fuck!" And then I'd be sitting watching, and I would intentionally, because you get the plastic chairs, them plastic lawn chairs. I would slide it back and let it hit the little cracks in the concrete, so it makes that popping sound. So it echoed. So everyone looked instantly like, oh shit, something going down. And I would look up and be like, just letting them know, I'm disappointed in you.
Disappointed, very disappointed. You don't even
Do
have to
you
go
want to
out
know
like
one
that.
of some of the worst things? And this is crazy because I want to get to seriousness about trauma because I know we're laughing right now. There is real trauma.
Just to keep from crying.
Bro, I promise you. I would go to visitation and I would see some of these men that I knew were in here fucking with boys, kissing their women. And some of them actually had some beautiful wives
Beautiful.
and beautiful girlfriends.
Jesus.
And that would come to see them, and I would see them kissing. I'm sort of thinking,
Kids come.
if you only knew your man was just sucking a hot dog.
The
His
glizzy.
grandfather didn't teach him.
No. They didn't teach him about the glizzies.
Didn't teach him. And I would see these things, and it would be heartbreaking. And I'm sort of thinking, Jesus fucking Christ, man. Like, you're in here doing this, and then you're going to go home to be with your wife.
Yeah.
Just heartbreaking. So anyway, we talked about moving to Petersburg. We talked about Britney Spears shaving her head. Talked about how a very large man that I knew that I looked up to this dude. You know what I mean? Because we'd be on the weight yard.
Mhm.
I found because Gilmer didn't have weights. Any prison built after 1995 in the federal system had no weights because they called it club fed. God forbid people do something with their time outside of trying to stab each other over stepping on each other's toes or who's got the fucking iron or who's been at the microwave too long because that shit's real. Fuck around and stand at the microwave too long and watch someone fuck you up. Walk in front of the TV and don't say excuse me and watch someone fuck you up.
Cut in front of anybody and don't
Cut
say,
in line.
excuse me.
Cut in line.
Not use your manners, period, is grounds for just a slaughterfest.
And if you dare get mad at your girlfriend on the phone or your wife on the phone or your child on the phone and you slam that phone down
and break it,
you're going to get your fucking ass stomped.
Jesus. It's a different walk of life.
I was talking about people in Florida and men on the street using terminology. That's what I was talking about. Using the word bitch.
They play with that.
That has triggered me to this day. People at work men will joke and call each other bitch and stuff like that.
Friends.
My blood pressure spikes. Like, it don't have to be. I've told everyone at work, don't say that to me. You can never say that to me.
Yeah.
If you say that to me, I promise you, I can't. I will do my best to restrain myself on my reaction. You'll get one time, and it's a warning. After that, I feel like you're trying me. These are the post-traumatic stresses that I carry home from prison.
For sure.
I don't like to be at restaurants with my back turned to the open.
For sure.
I don't like to enter a room where there's multiple people and I have to squeeze through a tight space. I feel like I'm being walked into a gully to where I'm headed down to a fight. There's things that trigger me bad. I have night terrors. I trained myself in prison not to have morning wood. Because what people don't realize is, if anyone doesn't realize what morning wood is, obviously a man wakes up and has to piss in the middle of the night, his dick is hard. Morning wood, it is what it is. In prison, there is female guards. If they would walk by you during count time, which happens at 2 a.m, 4 a.m, and your dick is hard, you go to the hole because they say you did it intentionally. No, I can't help it if I have to piss and I'm locked in a cell all night long. So I trained myself not to have that because once you go to the hole, you lose everything. People don't realize in prison, your cell becomes your home. If you fuck up and you go to the hole, it's like being evicted out of your home. When you come back,
you're different.
I don't care what the cells look like. It feels different. You imprint on your cell. And I feel people's energy that was in that cell before you imprints on you when you get there. Back to where I was talking about, I vibe with energy. I feel there's a lot of negative energies that carry with you and travel with you, which is why I said when I found God, I felt like I don't feel like I left him there, but I felt like I left what I found there for the next person. I tried to leave a positive imprint for the next man that was headed down this path inside that cell.
Mm-hmm.
These are the things that people don't realize. It's funny to laugh and joke like we was about prison. And the reason why I can feed back on those things and talk about these events and laugh is because if you didn't make the best of every little aspect of that time away, you will kill your fucking self.
Yes, you will.
Because I promise you, the thought was there constantly.
Yeah, for sure. You're human for saying that.
You don't realize, people don't realize, there's men out there doing 45 years.
Yeah.
50 years, life, that don't deserve it. That's real. Yeah, I had 8 years. To the normal person, they're like, what the fuck? 8 fucking years. Like,
That was
you hear those numbers? It's insane to understand that I was living in a bathroom under someone's thumb for 8 years. Dude, I got hounded and harassed by one guard constantly. He was a racist cocksucker. He hated me because I sailed with a black dude. He hated me because I was cool with everybody. Like, I made sure not to, I kept to myself. I had people that I dealt with, you know what I'm saying? Like in the penitentiary, I dealt with people, but I never crossed boundaries for certain people, and he fucking hated that about me.
Mm-hmm.
And he would fuck with me constantly, toss my cell,
Yeah.
try to provoke me to fuck up.
Yeah.
And when I didn't, they I stayed calm and I stayed through it. I made through there, and I got transferred out eventually. And it's like people don't realize those fucking traumas travel with you. And I see those traits in people now. I have to tell people, you can't yell at me. If we have a disagreement, do not fucking yell at me. Because once you start yelling, I'm not listening to what you're saying. I hear your voice, but I'm calculating how to fuck you up.
For sure.
And that's prison mentality that followed me home.
Yeah.
The word bitch is a trigger for me.
Yes.
Now I know where I was going with my mother. Me and you made joke. And when I said God rest my mother, me and you could literally have a conversation, laugh and joke, and have your mama jokes.
Yeah.
My mom's dead. And I can laugh at your mama joke. I know you don't mean it. You know what I'm saying? Everyone jokes different.
Yes.
The word bitch triggers me more than someone making a your mama joke. And that tells you how much prison affects a man's life afterwards. And that's a stigma that gets put on us, especially when you get a long sentence. People look at you and judge you. They're like, oh shit, this man did 8 fucking years in prison. Like, they start calculating, what the fuck did you go through for those 8 years?
See, they don't understand, Jeff. Is what they don't understand is the first moment that somebody crosses a line with you, that's the game changer.
You gotta go down.
It sets the tone.
You
It
have to
sets the
throw
tone
down.
from that moment on. You either handle the situation, or everybody else is going to think you're a bitch.
Yep. And I've had that conversation with a lot of people. I've told a lot of people, I'm like, you don't understand. I could not show emotion in the prison I was in at first. Like, visitation would come. My kids, you're like, oh, I loving on them, hugging on them. We're sharing sandwiches out the vending machine. We're sharing sodas. We're having a great time. But I couldn't cry when they left as much as I wanted to. I couldn't. I could not let anyone see me break down.
Right.
Because the moment I broke down, all it took was someone that was more miserable than me to provoke me by bringing up something negative, saying, oh, you was a fucking crybaby out on visit.
Right.
Now I gotta try you.
Mm-hmm.
And then what do I get? More fucking time.
Yeah, for sure.
So you can't show emotion in the penitentiary. You gotta hold that shit in. That traumatizes you the rest of your fucking life. Because all those years of you being held down and told you can't show emotions, you buried that in you like a fucking cancer. That shit eats away at your soul and takes away a part of your humanity. Because I tell people nowadays, and I've even said this on episode 0, don't think for a second I might not get emotional one day and cry on this podcast. I've learned as a man, I'm allowed to be free. I'm allowed to release my emotions now.
Yes.
I couldn't then. The only time I did is in the shower. That's when you got that full body cleansing. You be in the shower and you fucking let the tears out. Couldn't nobody see you.
They blend in with the
They
with the
blend in
shower,
with the
blend
fucking
in
water.
with the water.
Nobody knew. And I try to tell people, the trauma that I brought home with me from that. And I realized in life how my traumas from prison affected people in my life. The father I was when I went to prison, before I went to prison, even though I feel I was an amazing dad then, I feel I'm an amazing father now. I have my flaws. I am a changed man. I don't have the same sympathies that I would have had before I went away.
Mm.
Those died. I had to kill that version of myself in the penitentiary to survive.
Mm.
I had to create a new version of myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what people don't realize about going to prison does to you. You can't go in and be the same man you was and come out the same man. That man has to die.
Yeah.
And so when I laugh and joke and tell funny stories, it's funny because I had to make light of it to save my humanity. I had to find the best moments in the pain that I could. And those I remember. And I remember I made some brotherhoods in there, man.
Yeah, for sure.
I met
Same.
some people in there that I'm still close to today.
Mm-hmm.
And, and they have changed their lives dramatically and done the right things. I've also made friends in there that are now back in there.
Mm-hmm.
I made some friends in there that got out before me and came right the fuck back before I even thought about getting out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, God damn, bro, what the fuck are you doing?
They ain't getting enough coochie on the outside.
They ain't getting enough pussy on the outside. Or they
That's
like
good.
boys. One or two.
That's how I look at it.
You only come back for one reason. You're a dummy or you like boys. So when they moved me to my third penitentiary, USP Atlanta, I think every person that goes to prison should start at USP Atlanta. You get a fucking wake up call. Can't see. All you see is if it's nighttime or daytime, because the wall surrounding USP Atlanta is so big. All you see is when you look out the window, all you see is concrete, it's sky, nothing else. It's 23-hour a day lockdown. When you get out, you choose: do I want to shower or do I want to stand in line and hope to call home? At nighttime, you have to sleep with something over the toilet because the rats crawl through the fucking sewer system.
I heard about that.
And they will come out in your fucking room. The cockroaches are so fucking bad, you got to sleep with tissue in your ear and in your fucking nose. I woke up my first night with a cockroach trying to crawl in my fucking nose. That's how bad it is.
I heard about that.
You go to fucking USP Atlanta for 60 days, it'll change your whole life. Shit, they should have motherfuckers volunteer for that shit, just as a scared straight program. When rats come through the toilet in the middle of the night,
Yeah,
I
heard stories about that.
Change your whole life. And I was locked down in USP Atlanta for 4 months. Con Air is a real thing.
Yes, it is.
I flew on Con Air.
I got to experience that. I never was on the plane, but I pulled up to the drop to collect people, and so I got to see it.
My experiences with the reason why I was in USP Atlanta is the plane kept breaking down. We were on the runway, headed down track, and that motherfucker shut down. I said, oh, damn. They literally took us off, and we had to walk across the tarmac. They had the bus come over and pick us up because the plane actually broke down. Next month, they put us on the plane to fly out again. I'll be damned if the plane didn't break down again. Right then, I started saying, oh, bust my ass. Do what you got to do. Fuck, we'll walk. I don't care at this point. Do not put me on this plane. And I ended up finally, 4 months later, getting put on that airplane. And dude, it was the sketchiest, scariest fucking ride because all I kept thinking, it was the same plane every time.
Mm-hmm.
Same plane every time.
With the
You
duct
could see
tape on
duct
the
tape
wing.
on the wings. I swear to you, it's the realest thing. It's real. It's real.
Do you think they put that on there for psychological things?
No. I think the government just wants it to go down and there's enough parachutes for the marshals. That's what I believe.
There's some bad people, ain't there?
Yeah,
there's some bad motherfuckers, ain't there?
Bro, let me tell
If
you.
I could go back in time, I'd probably be a marshal.
I'd probably
Them
be a
motherfuckers
marshal.
are badass.
They get paid pretty good just to ride around and talk shit to locked up inmates. I think it's all right. So I did Gilmer, Petersburg, USP Atlanta, and I finished my stay up in Kentucky at what used to be the United States Narcotics Farm. You can actually get the book. There's a book on it. They used to intentionally induce drugs into people and monkeys and apes.
What?
At one point in time, it was a co-ed prison.
Mhm.
Men and women was in there. Fuck, they was producing more fucking babies in the penitentiary than was on the streets.
I believe it.
Yeah, definitely a haunted prison.
Mm.
Whether you believe in ghosts or not, I promise you, them fuckers are real. They are walking the hallways in that bitch. The morgue is still downstairs in the art room, and holds a Guinness Book of Records for the most windows because it's got all these little small windows. Yeah, and it's a pretty freaky fucking prison.
In Kentucky?
Yeah. So, what was your experience with child molesters in the penitentiary?
Oh Lord. Actually, I put my hands on a couple. Not in prison because you know the consequences behind
Extra
that.
5 years.
But coming through the system, yeah, I put my hands.
County jail, you can get
Yeah,
away with it.
boy. I got mine off.
So what people don't realize, again, I've spoken this before. You'll see a lot of child molesters get arrested, and you'll hear people on Facebook and Instagram. They're like, "Oh, wait till he gets to prison. He's going to get his." No, the fuck he ain't.
Not when he's in prison within prison. No, when he's in the county jail, if he gets, yeah.
County jail, he might get touched if he don't go to if he don't PC up.
Oh, what's that right there, man?
Well, this is the fancy sword.
Jeez.
You know, I'm a big man child.
Yeah, I like
Every
that.
man deserves to have whiskey poured out of a sword.
I've never had whiskey poured out of a sword. Let me finish mine up so I can give me some.
Every man. And this here special whiskey. This whiskey right here is cookie dough whiskey.
Now, what did your grandfather say about this?
My grandfather said any man that drinks whiskey out of a sword whiskey decanter must have a large penis.
Oh,
That's what he told me. He told me that one time. I don't remember when.
Came to see a man.
I don't even know if they had whiskey decanters back then. It just sounded good.
Thank
My grandfather died at a good old age of 85 years old.
Yeah, that's good.
Might have been 88. We'll change the year every time we talk about it. But, you know, it is what it is. So, it takes a big dick to pour whiskey out of a sword. That's what they say.
Oh,
Cheers.
big dick. After talking all the prison, you see this? Pop?
Ice popped.
Yeah.
So, child molesters. What people don't realize is, in the federal system, if you beat up a child molester, it's considered a
hate crime.
Because they are considered a mentally challenged individual. And something had to be mentally wrong with them for them to commit the crime that they had. So please stop posting they're going to get what they deserve when they go to prison, because I promise you the guards protect them, the fucking warden protects them,
the law protects
the fucking police protect them, the judge protects them. Imagine a little boy, a grown man. I'll give you a story. A fucking rabbi, traveled across state lines and picked up a little boy. Sexually assaulted him. Got 2 years in prison.
2. How many did you get?
I got 8 years for marijuana.
Mm.
He got 2 years to fuck a little kid in the ass.
You ain't even touched a little booty.
I ain't never touched no little booty heel.
Mm.
He got 2 years for fucking a little kid in the ass. Ruined that boy's life.
Forever.
That's a forever life sentence that boy was given. Same rabbi was caught by, what's his name? Chris Hansley on Catch a Predator.
Oh, wow.
We are in Petersburg, Virginia, watching Catch a Predator. And all of a sudden, we see the fucking rabbi that lives in the next unit over. And we're like, what the fuck? Right then, everybody's minds are clicking. How can we knock him down a flight of stairs?
Yeah.
How can we drop a fucking weight on his ass?
They get me excited now.
And then you hear the fucking horn go off. And we're like, fuck, they're coming to get him. It was that quick. The guards seen him on TV.
Wow.
And the guards came and got him, and they moved him to protective custody.
I have a similar story.
Twice. This was his second time for being in prison for fucking little boys. Guess what his sentence was?
What?
5 years.
The second one.
Second time. 5 years. 2 years for the first one, 5 years for the second one.
I hope they get castrated now. Is that a Florida thing now?
I think it's a Texas thing.
Texas thing? I like Texas.
I like Texas politics, but I don't like Texas because there's nothing there. It's steers and steers. And things my grandfather said.
He was a wise man.
He was a wise man.
He knows what he knows.
So, your story.
Oh, with the oh yeah. So we were actually in the regional in the county jail at this time, so it was a little more open than uh, the major facilities. Yeah, watching the news, 6 o'clock news. Everybody watches the news in the evening time. It's just
There's only 3 channels.
yeah, it's routine. So we're gonna watch the news. When it
News,
comes
and
on,
static.
Pizza Hut employee, they go get him from the job, and while we're watching the news, here comes a new person in. That they let him in. We were watching. Hey man, is that the same person?
Right. And that's how it happens.
He's in a cell. So, we go over there. Remind you, I'm 19 at the time. So, this was before I had my come to moment.
You're young and pissing testosterone.
Yeah, I was wanting all the reckless stuff.
Right.
So we see him. So we have to figure it out. He tells us the wrong name. We're asking for his paperwork. What you in here for? He's hiding it from me. It's in his bag. And that guy got booted real quick.
Yeah.
Booted.
See, what I tell a lot of people is
Booted.
most of the he got booted.
Not kicked out.
he got the boot.
He got the boot.
And the number one thing that most child molesters will say they're in prison for is fraud. They always go with the fraud excuse. It's always fraud. It's like, what kind of fraud? It's always some off the wall type bullshit. Anytime I ever heard a man say he was in prison for fraud, I instantly my radar went up.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing you do learn, one positive note I can say that I brought home from prison. One, I learned a lot of respect. I learned to give enough respect. Like, that they say respect is earned.
Yeah.
I give just enough respect to treat you as a human being.
For sure.
If you have good positive energy, you're a good person, the respect level goes up.
Yeah.
If you're a piece of shit, it goes down.
For sure.
If you're a child molester, I want to cut your balls off.
For sure.
So for me, that thing, I brought that home for me. I learned a lot about the system and how fucked up it is. Why I have no respect for it. When I learned that they protect these motherfuckers.
Yeah, I didn't understand it either.
It's the hardest thing for me to understand how children, right now, it's going to get me. It's going to get me. You can't tell me that a person should not be emotionally fueled when it comes to children being touched and children being molested. How can a judge look at me in my face and tell me, I reluctantly hand you 8 years in prison. I have no choice but to give you these 8 years because the guidelines tell me so.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a guideline telling you can't give me less than 8 years.
Guess who gave you the guideline?
But there's a guideline that says you can fuck a kid and only get 2?
Guess who gave you the guideline?
Who's that? Who gave the guideline?
Sleepy Joe.
Sleepy Joe Biden.
Sleepy Joe Biden.
Isn't that fucking amazing?
Sleepy Joe Biden gave us that mandatory minimum. I got to give a mandatory minimum with 0 criminal history. This is my first charge. I did 5 years. The judge looked at me and said, I wish I could go below the guidelines, but due to the law, I can't. My hands are tied.
That's exactly what he said.
Sleepy Joe Biden gave me that mandatory minimum.
Mandatory minimum.
In his crime bill.
Yeah.
So I pulled this up. So when I was in Beckley, because I was under a certain age, when I first got to my original unit, I actually ended up maybe a week and a half later, a week later, I started this program. It's called a Brave Unit. They have in Beckley. And the Brave Unit was for anybody that was like under 26 and under. It was like a first time offender program. And you go through this program for X amount of months. I don't remember it to be exact. And so after I completed the program, that was gladiator school within itself. Imagine being in a unit with everybody under 26 years old.
Everybody's looking to say who
Oh
they are.
yeah, we were getting it in, bro. So once we completed with that, and I went back to my unit, right? I wasn't in the initial cell that they put me in, so I ended up being put in the cell. So I pulled this up to show you who my cellie was, and so everybody tells me, "Hey, man, you need to get up out that room." Well, I have to find out for myself. I can't go off of what your opinion is, right? I have to form my own opinion. So until I figure out that this guy is who you say that he is, I'm going to remain in here. So this was my cellie right here. Should I say his name?
Sure.
Antonio Lazaga. You can look him up. Antonio Lazaga, a math professor, a scientist from Harvard, Yale, was teaching a computer class without a computer.
Because he was
He was teaching how to code and make web pages without a computer. He was literally had us at a table teaching us how to code without a computer off the top of his brain, bro. This was, look, Antonio Lizaga pleaded guilty. State charges, has been incarcerated since 2002.
Federal and state charges.
Yes. Was at Penn State. Remember the whole Penn State situation? Was at Penn State at that time with that coach, with that famous coach. Yale graduate, Harvard graduate, professor at these Ivy League schools. Was Marcelli. Was arguing against France in the cell with a graphing calculator, and was arguing that you can cut down all the trees in the world, but due to the chemical process of photosynthesis in the water, you can cut down all the trees. It has no effect with the oxygen level in the atmosphere. Was in the cell right now, and you can Google that right now. That whole argument was done from a prison cell. From this man right here. So with Chomo, so once I found out, you can look his case up. I think it's like in Connecticut or something like that, District 1.
So he was a child molester.
Correct.
In an argument.
He was
grooming children.
Correct. Because he told me, because I got questions, you know what I'm saying? Without knowing that he's a child molester, I have regular questions about these Ivy League stuff.
Right.
So they had like these grandfather programs from these families or whatever that put their kid in, that want to be in the Ivy League school, and they get mentored by people like this.
So they're introducing their children to child molesters, hoping they'll get a good education in the future.
Antonio Lizaga. I watched visitation, other scientists coming up, visiting him, exchanging information. I watched it.
And that's what I'm saying. And people are okay with these child molesters getting 2 years and 4 years. So I'm in Kentucky, okay? I'm going to tell you a couple stories about Kentucky. Kentucky was crazy, man, for real. It was a medical institute. I worked in the kitchen, and I helped people in Kentucky. I worked in the diet. They called it the diet kitchen. I worked in the section that helped people with cancer. Like, I had to make special food for men was never going home. These men were dying in prison. So I made meal plans for people with cancer, people with AIDS, people that were never going to see the light of day. They were dying from whatever illnesses that their body contracted in life, and they're going to die in prison. So I'm there, and I've met so many people, and I'm in my unit, and there's literally a cell that had child molesters in it. That's all that was in this fucking cell.
A cell.
A fucking cell. And the cell had 4 child molesters in the unit.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So in my unit, one cell for sure had 4 1,000,000% child molesters. Everyone in the unit knew. I didn't let them watch TV. Like, they were not allowed in the TV.
You don't get any respect. You don't have no say so at all.
They would try, like, when I first got to the unit in Kentucky, I didn't beat any of them's ass no matter how bad I wanted to. I almost did one time at Christmas time, and I'm going to get to that story. And then I'm also going to bring up the one time that I walked in on a sexual encounter. Fucking horrible. Jesus, the worst fucking thing ever. It was hilarious because of my other cellie. But this is what happened. So there's a whole cell dedicated to these fucking child molesters. Like, they knew, and they put them together because they knew what nobody else let them cell with them. I wouldn't let them watch TV. Like, and again, not back to race, but unfortunately in prison, there is a black TV room.
Yeah, there is.
Where the black guys run that TV. There's a white TV room. Now, it's not only white people only. I need people to understand that. There was a black TV room, and it was ran by...
When you say ran by, you're talking about they're the person that's being able
to there was a black dude in there that was in control of the TV.
You can go and watch the TV.
You can go watch the TV.
But you're not going to be able to...
But you're not going to grab that fucking remote. Because there is one black dude that has a shit ton of other black dudes in there that is... They follow his lead on that TV.
Yeah.
I ran the white TV room. I was the larger white man in the room. I was the more violent white man in the TV room. I was also the strongest white man on the compound. Out of 2,200 men, I had the strongest bench press, the strongest deadlift, the strongest shoulder press. Like I was the strongest white man in the Kentucky compound,
Mm-hmm.
which is something that wasn't race, but it was me. I've got pictures of this at home
Mm-hmm.
of me and all the guys that benched 400 and more.
Mm-hmm.
There's a picture of us. I am the white guy. Like everybody else was the black guys. You know what I mean? It is what it is. So there was a white TV room, a black TV room, and there was a Spanish TV room.
Yes.
Don't your ass go in the Spanish TV room and try to change it off El Telemundo. You're going to get punched. You're going to get fucking stuck.
Yeah. Telemundo
17 fucking times.
Yeah.
And everyone loves Spanish soap operas. Especially in prison. Everyone loves Spanish motherfucking TV in prison. Can't speak a lick of it. I can cuss in Spanish. It's about all I got. But let me tell you, you don't change the fucking Spanish TV. You don't change the fucking black TV. And you don't fucking come in a white TV room change TV. The chumos weren't allowed. I literally took a Clorox hand sanitizing bottle to the law library. Well, if you ever look at the back of a Clorox hand sanitizing bottle where you pull the little tissues out, there's going to be there's going to be an image of it's a man like the urinal and a baby, and it's going to have the circle with the line through it. I laid that on a printer and printed 9,000 copies of this fucking image, and I put them everywhere. No chummo.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's a man and a baby that's got a circle with a line through it. So for everyone in prison, it meant no chummo.
Yeah.
I put them on the TV room. I slid them in the fucking windows. I put them in places, and the guards let me get away with it. Like I was sliding them behind the fucking windows to where they were like permanently stuck between cages. The rainwater had to erode the paper because I was so against fucking child molestation. And so we're in there. One of the child molesters tried to come in and watch TV one day. No.
How'd that fare out?
No, that didn't work well. I came in from the rec yard from working out, and I found him sitting in there. Here's the craziest thing, what people don't realize. It's like real estate in prison. You have a section of fucking concrete that I promise you, right now, if I went to Gilmer Prison right now, I could walk to the exact little fucking 4x4 square concrete that I used to sit in front of and know it immediately. You could blindfold me, walk me in, set me out in the open, let me go, and I could walk to the square I sat in Gilmer. I could find it from the cracks in the concrete. Same way in Virginia, same way in Kentucky. I know where my fucking seat was. So with that being said, what I had to deal with in prison, we literally had sticky notes that stuck on the back of your chair in the TV room. Your fucking name was on it. Everyone knew that was your seat. Whether I was in the TV room or not, no one was allowed to sit in my chair. No one. Unless they had permission from me. And when they walked into that TV room, they had to announce out loud, he knows I'm sitting in this chair. And the moment I opened the door to walk in, he had to get up and get the fuck out of my seat.
Yeah.
That was my fucking seat. I ran that fucking TV room. That was my goddamn TV room. I chose based off of not bullying, because I had friends in there. I was a good dude. I would get the TV guide, and we would all together collectively choose what our programming was for the day. And we would put it on the wall. And I'll be goddamn if it deviated. That's what was going to get watched that day. I don't give a fuck if we watched it 15 times.
Right.
That's what was getting watched.
HGTV,
down the line,
ESPN,
every hour on the hour.
6 o'clock, the game's coming on.
And don't fuck around when the Olympics came on.
Yeah.
I got into it over the damn ice skating. I got into a fight in the TV room over ice skating. And I'll get to that story too.
Was it the women or the men?
It was the women.
Okay.
I was ready. I was going to hurt a motherfucker.
Right.
So, and I'll give you one of my favorite lines once I get there. And it's not what my grandfather told me, but I chose to make up my own. So, this fucking child molester was in there sitting in, not my seat, someone else's seat. So I walked in. The first thing I did was I reached around, grabbed the bottom leg of the chair, and just yanked it out from underneath him.
As you should.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah.
I said, if I ever catch you in here again, I'm going to do 5 extra years, but you're never going home. He never came to the TV room again. That was it. He wasn't allowed in there. Christmas time rolls around. Every year at Christmas, the fucking worst, man, because at Thanksgiving, the radio channel switches to Christmas music. And for 8 fucking years, I would literally cry myself to sleep. I'd cry myself to fucking sleep hearing goddamn Christmas music because I knew my kids weren't having the Christmas that they should have.
Mm.
Their father wasn't there. Their mother wasn't in their life. My oldest daughter had her mother,
Mm-hmm.
but she didn't have her father.
Mm-hmm.
That shit haunted me. Birthdays and Christmas fucking haunted me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was someone you didn't want to be around when my kids' birthdays rolled around and when Christmas rolled around. I was not a nice person. It shit fucked with me bad. And to this day, I try to do the best I can at Christmas and go above and beyond. Like I don't care what they pick out, I try to fucking buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've got years to make up for in my mind
Right.
that I don't think I'll ever recover from.
Right.
So Christmas rolls around and the prison is having a decoration competition. The warden was big on Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So we smuggled fucking shit from everywhere. We took cardboard boxes from the toilet paper rolls
Mm-hmm.
and we made nutcrackers out of construction paper and cardboard boxes. We stole insulation from the plumbing department in the unicorn division. Like I literally helped make literal 6 foot tall nutcrackers, arms, legs, everything. Like you would think we were in there doing some magical fucking shit. So we built a castle made out of construction paper and cardboard. Actually took paper and colored it and folded it and made it like, and I got a Christmas card from my kid and it was Santa Claus waving. I took that Christmas card and put it in like a little tower window of Santa Claus waving, and we stabbed holes with a shank. It is what it is. Through all of our shit because they gave us Christmas lights. And that was the only plug-in in the hallway. I made a little door so you could plug it up and turn it off, right? But before I did that, we made it permanent so they're going to be on day and night. But the police made me have to make a door to turn it on and off. But I'm going to explain why. So we made this huge Christmas castle, right, with lights. And it was right in front of the child molester's room.
Mm.
And they had they didn't have a solid door. They had a window because it was for protection so the police could see if anybody killed them in the middle of the night. That's how protected they are. I'm in a fucking steel door caged in. These fuckers got a glass window with a view of my Christmas castle.
Yeah.
Fuck these motherfuckers. So it's plugged in. It's so beautiful. I'm so happy. I'm so proud. All of us are proud. We're happy. We're like, we're going to win. And the competition was just to see who goes to lunch first for the month.
Mm-hmm.
Motherfucker, you know how important it is to go to lunch first?
Yeah.
Because the weight pal's waiting on you. We get the first choice of the weights.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole point. Like, we wanted them weights. I'm in there trying to get big. Little Jeffrey died. Big Jeffrey's here. So we're in there. So this child molesters opened the door and said, this ain't going to work. And now I'm already ready to kill him. You're talking to me.
Yeah.
Because I laid the rule, don't fucking talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, this ain't going to work. How you turn it off? I said, well, you fucking don't. So he shuts his cell door with an attitude. And I lose my shit.
Yeah.
So I rear back and I kick the fucking cell door open.
You got me mad and I'm not even there.
I kick the cell door open. I go in this fucking room. I grab him by his neck and I pull him close. And I said, I'll fucking kill you if you touch this goddamn little Christmas palace we made. Police is behind me. I just put my head down. I'm a year from the gate from going home.
Yeah.
And I put my head down and I'm like, fuck, I'm never going home. I'm about to get 5 more fucking years off this motherfucker. I'm going to kill him today. I'll just go ahead and do life in this bitch if I got to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
And the cop grabbed me. He said, let him go. We're going to pretend it didn't happen. I said, okay. I'll let him go. And I said, if you touch my Christmas castle, as I'm walking out the door, I said, you touch this Christmas castle, I'll fucking kill you. I will fucking kill you.
Thank you.
I said, I'll fucking kill you.
No, thank you. That actually is for me.
Oh.
I guess this is for the show, too.
Oh. You want to do the honors?
Yes, fuck yes. Got to pour from the sword.
From the fucking sword, bro.
From the sword.
From the sword of...
So I'm ready to ruin my entire life over...
It's a man's drink right
Man's drink right there. You got to fill it to the top.
That's a man's
That's
drink.
what we do.
I felt it in the cup.
Yeah.
So I'm ready to kill somebody over a Christmas castle, bro. And that's when I realized how institutionalized I became.
So I got a question for you at this point right now. At what year did your mind change where you said that you were never going to come back? At what moment in your the sentence did your mind change and said, I hate this shit. I'm not coming back? For me, so for me to answer, it probably wasn't. It was less than a year to the door. It was probably
It took you that
6
long.
months.
It
Yes.
took you that long. For me, it was. Now this is going to sound crazy, but you got to let me get it through.
Mm-hmm.
Day one, I said I'll never do this again. Had I gotten a 3-year sentence, I'd have sold drugs the day I got out.
Exactly.
Had I gotten a 3-year sentence, I'd have sold drugs the day I got out.
I had every intention. I was collecting all type of information from other people.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I was going to be the best when I got out.
Had I got a 3-year sentence, I'd have sold drugs the day I got out. At year 5, I knew I was done. At year 6, I changed. At year 7, no. When I say I changed at year 6, I got bitter. I realized how upset I was at the world because I realized this ain't right. I'm doing all this time over fucking weed. And people are going to be like, God damn, how much weed did you have? I had a gun. That was a mandatory minimum of 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
The weed I had was a mandatory minimum of 37 months. 3 years and 1 month. It's insanity. I don't give a fuck how much goddamn shit you have. I don't fucking care. The government's passing out fucking morphine and letting fentanyl cross the border. You got some fucking nerve to lock me up.
Right.
So at year 6, I was fucking bitter, dude. You know what I mean? I watched my son was a little over 2 years old when I went away.
Right.
I came home to a 10-year-old boy
Mm.
that wanted nothing more than his dad. Said I wouldn't do it. My daughter, my middle daughter, I'll never forget when she came and see me in the regional jail. That 30-minute visit through the window.
Mm-hmm.
Whole 30 minutes, she screamed and cried, I want my daddy. I couldn't get to her. Their mom wasn't in their life.
Right.
You know, I raised my 2 middle kids alone.
Right.
My middle daughter screamed for 30 minutes straight, I want my daddy, I want my daddy. That's all she said. My son didn't even know what his mom looked like. And I left them to be raised by other people for 8 years of my life. My oldest daughter already had a strained relationship with her due to differences. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Her mom and me just didn't get along. We were
Right.
too young to have a kid. We didn't get along. And it was hard. I called her, you know what I'm saying? We talked, but wasn't the same. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, me and my oldest daughter have a good relationship now, but it was so torn up from me going to prison.
Mm-hmm.
Those years of losing her and losing being with her and being a part of her life were torture, man.
Yeah. Because they don't understand.
They don't understand.
They just want the dad, and they have the expectation of what they have in their mind of what the father should be, but they don't understand.
So at year 6, I was so fucking angry because I realized how old my kids were. And I'm watching these child molesters go home, and I'm watching these repeat offenders go home.
Right.
And I'm watching other people get prison breaks. You know what I'm saying? Like they came out with the second chance law.
Crack law. And
do you know
all
what that
stuff.
fucking felt like? And I'm sitting there thinking, man, I'm doing all this fucking time for marijuana. Yeah, I had a gun, but fuck, man, I wasn't even home when you raided my house and you
Right.
charged me for using a gun
Right.
to protect drugs. I went home.
Do you know? I remember your not even your name. Do you know? I remember seeing on the news your ticker go across the bottom.
I was on the news every night for a week.
Yeah, Nitro Man.
Yeah.
Buzzy blah.
Yep.
Not knowing that it was you.
I was facing 30 years in prison.
Yeah.
30 years in prison is what I was facing in the beginning. I pled out to my plea deal was I wouldn't argue anything. If I accepted the gun, if I accepted their version of the drugs I had. See, I pled guilty to drugs that wasn't real.
Yeah.
I had a 4-count indictment. The drugs that I had were never even in the charge. I got caught with 60 pounds of weed. There's picture proof of 60 pounds of weed.
They said 41.
They turned
I
in
remember from the
44.
ticker.
They turned in 44.
Okay.
They turned in 44 out of 60. That's a fucking math problem. They took $23,000 cash and they turned in $3,000. And they took $1,000 out of my wallet in the jail cell and never reported it. They charged me for the firearms that I had.
You weren't even there. You weren't even at the house.
I wasn't even at the house.
You weren't even in the state.
No, I was in Florida on vacation. So it's crazy to get that kind of time. You know what I'm saying? And they said I used a gun to protect my drug.
How are you going to use the gun to protect the drugs and you're not even there?
You can't use a gun unless you're using a fucking gun, but that's the federal government.
Right.
And
I understand.
I've had that conversation 1,000 times.
Right.
When I brought up the drugs, I'm like, where's the drugs that's missing then? And they're like, they're not on trial, Mr. George, you are. I'm like, fuck. Really? It's just like, okay.
Yeah.
But they made
there was
me
more
plead.
than that was there.
I'm literally telling them. I literally said it. I'm in the courtroom. I'm like, wait a minute.
I know how much was there.
I said, Your Honor.
More.
I said, there's $23,000 missing. There's pictures. I was like, there's fucking weed missing. There's pictures. And they literally laughed at me like I'm a fucking clown. And I'm like, but there's more. And you're charging me for what's not there. Like, I don't understand. It's like to get charged for 98 kilos. Or no, 95 kilos. And I'm like, fuck did y'all get that number from? I'm over here rattling my brain. Again, I'm back to counting on my fingers. 2.2 pounds is a kilo. And I'm over at them. I'm like, I didn't have that much shit. Where did that number come from?
Yeah.
I had to accept that plea deal to keep my fiance from going to prison. I got 2 extra years to keep my fiance out of prison, who chose to leave me 3 months in.
Mm-hmm. That's tough.
Let that fucking sink in. But it was the right thing to do. Everyone tells me I'm crazy. But it was the right thing to do. I owned up to it. She never had to go to prison. It was the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
She lied to me my whole fucking stay. I knew
Yeah.
she wouldn't be fucking faithful. I knew she'd fuck around. It's 8 fucking years, bro.
Yeah.
Come on. She's a
Yeah.
young girl. You know she made me believe I'm naive. I'm a hopeless romantic. I knew she was fooling around seeing people. Fuck, she got pregnant.
Can I? So my story is I'm on the phone with my cousin.
Right?
My cousin tells me, she says, "Listen, baby, I hate to be the one to tell you. This is my best friend, so I'm kind of defying her, but you're my blood.
Right.
But Brittany just had a threesome with my best friend and her boyfriend.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God. When I said I wanted to jump off the top tier.
You ready to kill yourself?
Yeah, I was ready to kill myself.
I remember I would call my girlfriend, right? I would call her. And she answered, you know what I mean? And then one time she was around some of the people I protected and I'm doing prison time with. That I'm doing prison time for. I'm starting to think, are you fucking kidding me?
And she's hanging around.
You're fucking hanging around these people. I'm in her door prison. They ain't sent me a fucking dollar.
Yeah.
And this is the people you're around.
Right.
So you got to understand the betrayal and the heartbreak. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, what the fuck are you thinking? And we're talking and, whatever. And then, like, literally, this woman made me believe that we were going to try again when I got out. Like, literally, we were talking. Do you realize the last conversation I had with her before I got out of prison, 3 days before I got out, I was talking to her 5 minutes before she walked down the aisle to get married,
What?
and she told me she loved me and that we would be together when I got out.
I got to the point where I started being accepting of the lies.
I did too.
Just lie to me.
I took it. I took it.
Just tell me what I need. Just tell me what I want to hear.
Because I
right
wanted
now.
to feel wanted.
Help me,
wanted to feel wanted.
Help me get through this. Just I want to
I
feel
wanted
loved
to feel
right now.
wanted.
I want to feel I want to feel wanted.
So I'm sort of thinking, and then I find out my stepmother who told me, she's like, yeah, she got married. It was in the fucking newspaper. I'm like, what? We just had a conversation 3 days ago. It was violent, dude. How do you explain that? You can't explain the heartbreak of knowing the woman that you did extra time for gets fucking married 3 days before you get out of prison, bro. And here's the crazy part. And this is why I'm glad I'm where I am today. I'll never forget one of the phone calls we had when I got to the halfway house. She was talking about money and some of the things she said. I was about 10 years older than her. Maybe, no. I wasn't 10 years older than her. I don't know how much older I am. Look, I'm a little older than her.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say 10 years, but I don't remember how much older I am. What she literally told me one time, she said, you've lived 3/4 of your life. I'm starting thinking, I'm fucking 30. So you're saying I'm going to die at like 42? Like, what the fuck?
Right.
What's this fucking number you're coming up with? She's like, do you expect me to wait forever? I said, no, I didn't expect you to wait forever. I knew you would end up seeing people. I knew. Fuck, you came to see me and told me you were pregnant while you came to see me. Clearly you fucked somebody.
Right,
You're not, the Virgin Mary. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, it is what it is. Because I know if she'd have did 8 years, I'd have been fucking. So I understood. Life moves on. We're in a prison. Life doesn't stop outside. So I understood that. But what got me the most, man, what broke me the most was I'm really sitting there because she would tell me, I fucked up. I shouldn't have done this. I should have waited on you. I love you. I miss you. No one's ever treated me the way you treat me. She fed me every lie any man could ever want to fucking hear.
Mm-hmm.
And it hyped me up. And it made me want to be a better man when I came home. And it made me want to do things that, the right way. Because I knew, like I said, she was pregnant when I went away.
Mm-hmm.
She lost our baby due to the stress of me going to prison.
Mm-hmm. That's tough.
Imagine I'm sitting in a prison cell facing 8 years knowing my woman just lost our child based off the stress because my dumb ass went to prison.
Right.
It's a woman I would have married.
Yeah.
I planned a future with her. My kids knew her.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't get mad at her for living her life while I'm gone. But fuck, you lied to me to 3 days to my day out?
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking hard, man. And then I found out how bad she was strung out on drugs. That's even worse. Not only did you lie to me, now you've been out here doing fucking drugs?
Mm-hmm. Mm.
What the fuck?
I want to know about the kind of going back. You said you wanted to touch on the subject or whatever. When you said that you were in prison and you came in actual encounter with
Oh Jesus!
I gotta know, man.
So
Because I never actually came in an encounter.
I'm glad you did it because I got emotional talking about my kids. Started crying. I'm not a bitch. 19 inch arms. It is what it is. I told you I'll be the realest shit ever. So we head to the rec yard. You have 10-minute moves. See, what people don't understand about prison is you got 10 minutes to move. Every hour and the hour, you have a 10-minute move. So just think about this while you're out there doing the fucking stupid. You're breaking the law. You're selling fucking weed on the side. You ain't got a license to sell weed because it's legal now. Get a license. Do it the right fucking way. Don't do what I did. Do the right fucking way. Don't sell crack. Crack kills. Don't sell fentanyl. It's bullshit. Stupid. Don't sell fucking drugs. Fuck that. Get a job. Be a plumber. Play in shitholes. That's what I do. So you're headed to the rec yard. You got 10 fucking minutes. Bro, do you know how big the prison compound is? It's 10 minutes from the unit to the rec yard.
For sure.
You cannot run on prison.
Yeah,
you can run on the rec yard on the track. Don't your ass run anywhere else because they think you're trying to get out. You're done. You're fucked. You're getting attacked.
From metal detector to the metal detector.
And there's 75 metal detectors from one unit to the rec yard. Like I picked the shank up halfway there. So you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it was suitcase. If anybody don't know what suitcase means, that means you hit it in your ass. I've never suitcased a motherfucking thing. So
You know, my grandfather told me about
Ew.
suitcases.
suitcase. Anybody that put anything in the suitcase was definitely packing a dick. What he said. Just saying. Grandfather, great knowledge.
He's a fucking wise man, isn't he?
Wisest man I ever met.
Shit.
Wisest man I ever met.
He had all knowledge.
So we're headed to the rec yard. I can see the weight pal, and I'm so happy because today is the day I'm going to bench 405 for the first time in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I am no longer little Jeffrey. I am now Big Tut. You know what I mean? I'm like, fuck yeah, here it comes, motherfuckers. And he says, fuck, I forgot my gloves. My workout partner.
Yeah.
I said, fuck, because I need him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He's my hype man.
Right.
Like, all right, let's go back. We double back. We're like, fuck it, we'll catch next move, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're doubling back because you got to get back before lockdown.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you get in trouble for being in between movements.
Right. Right.
So we're doubling back. We're getting back. We get through the door, and I'm like, fuck, bro, we hustled. We sped walked. No police seen us. We got this. We can still make our move. Open the motherfucking door, and there's one of our cellies getting his dick sucked.
Oh my gosh. You was in a 3-man cell?
4-man cell.
4-man cell. Oh wow.
Barely bigger than a bathroom.
Okay.
Literally bunk beds.
2 bunk beds.
But 2 bunk beds, 2 lockers. Oh, she almost fell off the chair. 2 lockers, and a door. That's what you got. Bunk beds, enough space to if we got out of bed at the same time, you had to get out on this end, I had to get out on this. We had to sleep opposite end. Head feet, otherwise we'd be face to face like this, right?
Yeah. We don't
That's
do
like
that.
small-
That's too close.
That's nut to nut, not
Yeah,
happening.
No.
Just like a motorcycle, 2 wheels, 2
Two
nuts, can't do nothing else.
For sure.
So we open the door and there it is, and we're like, first thing I do is I'm like, fuck, because I know my celly's homophobic, like super homophobic.
That's why.
Like he had a full meltdown.
Which one? The other one with the gloves?
No, the
The one that was getting his
no.
Oh.
And the celly that was getting his dick sucked was from another dude from another fucking cell, and they're in our cell sitting there getting his dick
Was he
sucked.
kind of from the East Coast?
And the first thing, he was from
Near
the
the
West
capital?
Coast. He was from the West
He's
Coast.
from the West Coast? Oh. Whoa.
This man, all he said was he went in, he had a moment of Tourette's. Like he opened the door and then he just started fist pumping like this. He couldn't move. He said, "He fucking dick! He fucking dick!" He was yelling about the guy sucking the celly's dick.
Oh.
And he just kept yelling, "He's sucking dick! He's sucking." And I couldn't stop laughing. Life changed that day. Because the celly couldn't get out the chair because when the door opened, it pinned them behind the door in the bed. They were stuck. The dude was stuck on his knees. He couldn't even get up. And he's looking at him screaming, "He's sucking dick! He's sucking dick!" I couldn't stop. And now all hell's broke loose. The whole unit's come out and looking down the hall like, who's sucking dick? Who is it? So my celly freaks out because there's no AC. And he grabs a fan. And I'll never forget because it says the fan was made by Dayton. And I used to have Dayton wire wheels, and it used to make me have flashbacks about my wire wheels on my car.
Yeah.
And so he grabs the fan, and for whatever reason, he starts beating the window in the prison cell like he's trying to escape. And he's screaming, he's sucking dick while he's beating him. And I'm looking at him like, what do I do? It's so loud. All you hear is metal playing metal, and a grown man screaming, he's sucking dick. His Tourette's was so bad, he couldn't come up with another word.
So he really does have Tourette's?
No. It just triggered.
The 6 Tourette's
It triggered Tourette's.
gave him Tourette's for momentarily.
He couldn't stop screaming, he's sucking dick.
He was caught off guard.
And from that point on, I have a hard time of just saying the word suck dick. I have a flashback. So he's beating the window, and the police comes out of the office going, "What the fuck is going on?" My celly drops the fan, looks out the door, and says, "Fucking dick." I couldn't stop crying. It was the first time I encountered a sexual act in prison. I knew it happened. I've heard it through the vents.
Yeah.
You know what's going down. In the I've seen a centipede in a shower cell.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hands and feet up that motherfucker. I knew, but this was the first time I seen it. And I seen it with my own 2 eyes. Again, I don't care if you're gay. If you like sucking dick, hey,
That's
I
on
you
you.
said it's bad for your health. I don't know.
My health is good.
My health's good. I don't need to suck dick. I'm good with it. I'm okay. Again, I like vagine. I like the veg. But this motherfucker couldn't stop screaming he's sucking dick. He just couldn't stop screaming. It was the only words he could actually say. And I couldn't get
He was in
past it.
shock.
He was in shock. So he could only scream he's sucking dick. After the police came and forcefully removed him from the cell, he was still shaking down the hall. He's in there sucking dick. He's sucking dick. And he was shaking. And I kept thinking, his hands are going to break. Like he was squeezing so hard. He was like literally sitting there pumping. And it was the funniest shit ever. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Dude was sucking dick and you caught him and you just had a full meltdown. And the cop couldn't stop fucking laughing. Everyone's cracking up. It was such a fucking horrible thing. It was just because the dude seemed so masculine. That was sucking dick. He was the bigger of the two.
I don't have that. I don't have that experience, but I have been walking across the compound where I heard, "Hey, Shawty, God damn, you looking good." And I'm looking, and this guy was from the kind of mid northern
Listen,
East
I'm
Coast,
telling you now,
where the
every
capital
man
is.
in prison from DC is gay.
You said it.
No offense.
You
No
said it.
offense. No offense.
You
No
said it.
offense.
You said
But
it.
I'm being honest with
You
you.
said it.
I'm being honest with you. Do you know I found out in prison that men from DC think it's the coolest thing to have the hottest girl and hottest boy at the same time?
No, I didn't know
I
that.
found that out.
I didn't know that.
The prison I was in Gilmer, the first prison in Gilmer, had 980 men from DC.
That can fight. Because them motherfuckers can fight.
They like
I don't
to fight.
know what the fuck is up with that.
'Cause they're sucking
motherfucker,
dick.
but them motherfuckers can fight.
Because they know they have to, because somebody's telling them they're sucking dick.
Them motherfuckers
All
can
of them,
fight.
all of them. Every one of them have homosexual experiences.
And they can, yeah, that's the weirdest experience.
Every one of them. I'm not saying every man from DC is gay. I'm saying every man in prison from DC is gay. I've seen it firsthand. They all said it.
Kill my cat, Mo.
They all said it. Yeah, and they call everybody Mo.
Hey, Mo.
Everybody's Mo.
Kill my cat,
Everybody's Mo.
God, you said it.
So I had.
In other words, they live up to their reputation.
They live up to the reputation.
They're knife toting,
Dick sucking,
fighting motherfuckers,
fighting convicts.
God,
I'll give it to them.
Suitcaser?
So they do suitcases.
Suitcases.
They do suitcases. So, oh my God, wait a second. There's another story.
Louis suitcase.
So there was this kid. There was this little white kid. And I told him the day he came to prison in Gilmer. I got to go back to this. No, I got to go back to this. He came to prison, right? And he come across the compound. He had a ponytail. Little short motherfucker, right? But when he walked, it kind of bobbed, right? He kind of like had this little
Ponytail bounce.
And his ponytail would bounce.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, bro, you're going to have to man the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
He said, what do you mean? I said, bro, you look suspect.
You got to take it off.
You gotta do something about you. Because when you walk, your ponytail is like hopping side to side. I said, bro,
getting attention.
I said, that's like woman shit.
The booty band is going to look.
I told him. I tried to warn him. So he moves into a cell with a dude. I don't give a fuck. I'll never see this guy. His nickname was Face.
Okay.
How the fuck you get a name named Face? I'll never understand.
Uh-huh.
Face wrote him a love letter. I seen the love letter with my own 2 eyes. And it said, I like the way you walk. I would just like you to spread your cheeks and let me rub one off to it. And he showed me this letter, is how I seen it.
Ponytail.
Ponytail showed me the letter.
Yeah.
I said, if you don't move, he gonna fuck you.
Ponytail ain't move.
Ponytail didn't fucking move.
Ponytail liked the attention.
Ponytail didn't fucking move.
He found out the hard way.
Ponytail told me he didn't want nothing to happen.
He lied to you.
Ponytail was probably letting something happen.
Ponytail lied to you.
I couldn't fucking believe it. My grandfather.
You know and I know.
My grandfather told me, don't you ever grow no ponytail.
I had a ponytail.
Any man with a ponytail.
I had a ponytail.
Any man with a ponytail. My grandfather said
no, he didn't. Now,
my grandfather.
I don't got no ponytail no more.
Because you woke up. And you woke the fuck up. So, all right, let's get back to it. So, the trauma from prison follows you home.
For sure. 100%.
The stigma follows you home.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is, I was gone so long that when how long I was gone, I never had to answer. Have you ever been convicted of a felony in the past 7 years? Do you realize when you can say no on an application because you did more time than it says?
Mm-hmm.
That fucks your head up.
Yeah.
So, but the problem is when you come home and everyone asks you what your work experience was for the last fucking 8 years of your life. Nobody wants to hire you.
Yeah. What about like socially? What social experience did you go through?
Imagine MySpace started and disappeared during my prison sentence. I don't know what MySpace was. I don't know what it was.
I got the end of it.
I never seen it.
Mm-hmm.
I was gone the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
To come home and to text message somebody, fuck me clean up.
Yeah. I didn't have smartphones.
When I went away, I had a Nextel flip phone.
Mm-hmm.
I had the I-95. Motherfucker looked like a laser tag gun.
I had a Samsung Galaxy like 2 or 3.
And Metro Drug Unit was going to
was-
shoot me over that I-95.
Really?
Yeah, they kept screaming, drop your gun, drop your gun, drop your gun. And the neighbors was like, it's a fucking cell phone. The neighbors saved my life.
Mm.
They were going to fucking shoot me. They wanted to shoot me. They were trigger happy.
One of my biggest PTSD experiences or whatnot upon my release was crowds walking through the mall, Walmart, restaurants, as we discussed. People walking too close to me.
Too close.
People not saying excuse me. I wanted to. Why are you not saying excuse me? If I'm grown and can say excuse me, you can too. Why is it not being reciprocated?
I catch myself to this day holding the door for people.
Yes.
And if they don't say thank you, it triggers me.
Yeah, same.
Because I have that
To this day.
I had that trauma carried over with me. If I open the door and I'm holding it and you walk through and you don't say thank you, I feel disrespected. It's a hard thing to shut down. Like I said about the terminology of the word bitch.
Yeah.
I can't allow it.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard because I have friends that say it so frequently. I used to say it before I went away.
Yeah, I don't want to be a part of that.
And now it's like when people say it, I'm like,
you're trying me.
Bro, please.
I don't like that.
Please. It bothers me.
To the core.
Like I want to hurt you.
Yeah.
And it's hard to say that out loud because I know people are going to see this and it's going to give them a different perspective of me. I really don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I hope it lets them know you don't know who you are crossing in life as we travel down this path.
Yeah. You don't know. You got
Not
tread
everyone is going to allow you to talk reckless.
For sure.
Some people will check the fuck out of you. And that's back to the yelling thing I spoke of.
Mm-hmm.
I tell people all the time, you can have constructive criticism towards me. You cannot yell at me. If you yell at me, I no longer hear you. I'm now calculating a way to fuck you up and me win the scenario.
And I understand that.
I don't tolerate
I don't think they understand it. I understand it.
There's people in this world you can disrespect. And I've said this multiple times
Ponytail.
in business meetings.
Mm-hmm.
There's people in this life you can disrespect. And then there's people like me that you can't. Not saying I'm a fucking huge badass and can't nobody whoop my ass.
Right.
Can't nobody shoot me. I'm not saying those things.
It has nothing to do with
my
that.
mentality will not allow me
Mm-hmm.
to allow you to disrespect me at this level. Because I had to become a different version of who I was to survive those 8 years in that penitentiary.
Yes.
I have never encountered another scenario that allows me to check out of that mentality. Because now I deal with real world consequences.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you touch me, I know I have to win. Because that's what I had to do there.
For sure. And that's being based off survival skills.
It becomes a survival. You
Right.
become a whole new human being
when you're living to survive.
Yes.
In your environment.
And people will hear this conversation and be like, oh, if I go to prison, I'll be a badass.
No. It doesn't. No.
It doesn't make you that way. Prison, if you go to prison after hearing this, you're a fucking idiot. I might laugh and make jokes and tell you some funny stories. Like, I got a story about a guy named Tight Pants Tommy. That's what we called him. His name was Tommy. He was fucking dumb as a box of rocks. He probably should have never went to prison. They probably should have sent him to a fucking educational place.
Mm-hmm.
And one day he went into the laundry unit and he asked for a pair of pants and he got rude with the guy, right? And inmates do everything in prison.
Yeah.
We're the ones that feed you, cook, fucking do your
Yeah,
we make your
yeah,
laundry.
exactly.
So he intentionally sewed the wrong size label on his pants and lowered his size.
Tight pants, Tommy.
Tight pants Tommy.
That's funny.
So Tommy went back and said, these pants are still too tight. And he was still a dick. So the dude originally started off as a 38 and he wanted 40s. When he was done, he was trying to squeeze into 34s. It was so bad he couldn't walk.
Yeah.
Literally like shuffling, right? And we kept saying, Tommy, what the fuck is going on, bro? What the fuck, man? You're gaining weight. Tommy was not gaining weight. We all knew the laundry dude was fucking with him, dropping his size.
That's funny.
Tommy's pants got so tight he was secreting DNA through his clothes.
So I got a question for you moving forward. What were the roadblocks, the hindrances of you being a felon coming out, you knew that you were rehabilitated. What were the roadblocks and the challenges that you faced trying to prove in so many words to society that you were rehabilitated, even without them knowing? What for you to try to blend in? What were some from?
My resting asshole face grew dramatically.
Yeah.
Leaving prison and coming home.
Yeah.
So everyone thought I had a chip on my shoulder, which I don't.
I think I faced that today, still today.
Me too. I've been at war with myself so long, I don't know what it's like to smile and it be real. Like I can smile when I laugh. I can see a child and be happy and smile. The moment that disappears, I'm back at this war with myself because I punished myself for being away from my children for all those years. I punished myself for not being in my mother's life for those years because I don't have her now. I punished myself for not being around my father to help him through those times. Because thankfully my father took care of my kids while I was gone.
Right.
And my stepmother.
Right.
The most troubling thing for me to get back to society was not carrying home that prison mentality. Having to remember what I said earlier about suppressing how you felt emotionally from outside in prison. Now I'm suppressing prison feelings inside of myself for outside.
Yeah.
Because not everyone outside carries the same mentality as the people in prison.
For sure.
So now I've had to switch complete roles again and kill off Jeffrey in prison and try to become this new version of myself. I feel I'm carrying myself down a path pretty well. I'm doing pretty good for myself in the career path that I'm on now. I feel that life has given me the opportunity to change who I am and talk to people and be a part of positive solutions and to try to guide children not to follow that path. Because every child I see, every young person I see that's living wrong, the first thing to do is check them. Bro, don't go down that fucking path.
Right.
You don't want to go where I've been. So getting a job was the craziest shit.
Different, right?
Different. And then learning to navigate the skills of a job and not being on the timeline, like not having to go stand up for count, like things like that, you know what I mean, are hard to switch off. I think what people don't understand about leaving prison after that long is you learn there's a structure to prison that you don't have on the street. Like, you have this much time to do this. That's all you got. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Then once you hit the street, it's different. You can carry over. You can be late. You can do this. You can do that. And people don't realize that life can be way harder than it is. It could really be, and that's pretty much.
Yeah, but it can also be a little bit simpler, you know. So,
Right.
Me personally, know what I can know now. You're familiar with my brother. My brother is an assistant basketball coach at a prestigious
Mhm.
place. You know, I don't know if I really want to pinpoint that down
Right, right,
to where
right.
he's at, but knowing you hear these stories that you can be anything that you want to be growing up,
Mhm.
right? You can be a fighter pilot, you can be a firefighter, a police officer, et cetera, et cetera. But coming from our circumstances, those are little far fetched. Come on, we hear that stuff,
Mhm.
we acknowledge it, right? We grasp it, we digest those type of things.
Mhm.
But to actually put the action into play is almost, yeah, right.
You are
Not for me,
you are a product of your environment.
for sure. I believe that.
I was bullied for being poor. I was beat up for being poor. I was humiliated for being poor. I did what I could as a young child to get away from that, to escape pain, to
Mhm,
escape humiliation.
mhm.
Wasn't my fucking family's fault. It is what it is. They did what they could do. They tried what they could. It led me down a bad life out of my doing. I could have done the right thing. Hell, my brother did the right thing. My brother went to the army. He spent 25 years. He's fucking amazing. He
Same,
makes great money.
same,
My brother's doing fucking amazing.
same.
My brother didn't live the same life I lived. He might have got made fun of. I don't think he got his ass beat. Differences. Not everybody in life leads. I don't give a fuck if it's your brother, your mother, your sister. Not everyone in your direct line leads the same path. Everybody has their own path.
Yeah.
It's the life that we are given. You're given that life for a reason. You're given the trials and tribulations for a reason. You either make the best of them because some say God, I say creator, some say this, I say I believe God is the universe. Okay. I don't believe there's a Big Bang. I believe God is the Big Bang. God said, all right, here we go. Let's get this shit going.
Correct.
And that's what happened. So I feel that the universe is God. And I feel that He laid a path down for me of pure trials and tribulations to watch me fuck up, to watch me find a way to fuck through them, to navigate through it, so I could be a voice to tell people, don't fucking do this shit. That's misery. That's fucked up, bro. Don't live this path.
Mhm,
Listen to this motherfucker. He got his ass whooped. He got beat up. He got fucking tortured. He was homeless.
mhm,
Right out of fucking dumpsters at 14 years old. I was fucking homeless.
mhm.
I ate out of fucking dumpsters. I grew up so fucking poor. I literally went to the Arby's fucking dumpster at 2 a.m. when they threw all the food away and would fucking dig in the dumpster and fucking eat. That's how fucked up my childhood was. So can't nobody tell me about growing up without shit, motherfucker. I had nothing.
Yeah. You got a Lamborghini outside
I
now.
got a fucking Lamborghini outside right now because I didn't fucking give up. I believed my whole goddamn life I was meant for something more. I was meant for something better. And I was meant to fucking travel down a better path. I'm meant to be here to tell people now, don't follow my path. Follow the right path.
So not to cut you off, but to add on what you're saying, to close this out,
Mhm.
what would you tell your audience, to the young viewers that would catch this? What would you say to them that anybody that's living down the or going down the wrong path, living the wrong road, somebody that comes from the same background as you, knowing and gathering all the information that you gathered throughout your life, what would you tell them heart to heart for them not to go down
I already
that path?
got it. I already got it. Never too late to be what you once wanted to be. Let the bullshit go. Do the right thing. When you follow your heart, you always fucking win. Being a drug dealer was never my fucking choice. That was stupid. Being involved with dumb shit was the dumbest mistake I ever made. That's not what my heart told me to do. Follow your fucking heart and you will always win. That's how you fucking change your life. Not by doing the wrong thing.